Hey now.
Hey guys. Nice, nice.
What is happening?
Hey.
What's up?
Halenville live on a Sunday night, May 30th, 2021, Memorial Day weekend. How's everybody doing?
Doing good, doing good.
We got a full house in here tonight.
Yeah, man. There's still some elbow room, though.
We got a 6-pack of dreams here.
We do. Johnny Beane in the house.
Hey. Hey,
Mr. Bent Tom right there.
Hi.
Charles Green. R2, R3 lock and nut right there.
Two.
The Rev Kurt 5150. There he is.
Hello.
All right. How you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Great.
Good, man.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome, man.
Nice to see you guys. Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Everybody off work tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
No.
No.
Johnny's working right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm check.
So it's show me your Frankie Sunday, right?
There you go.
Frankie Sunday.
Ship your Frankie Sunday.
Yes, sir.
I got one right behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New guitar day, huh?
It is a new guitar day here at Halenville Live. We are going to unbox this sucker right here. And we have the privilege of having the guy who made this thing here on the show with us. Yeah.
Nice.
So he's going to be talking about this guitar and all of his work, his custom shop, and showing us a lot of his other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Bring him in.
Let's
Open that box, man.
Do it.
You've been waiting for days.
He's backstage taking shots with David Lee Ross mini bodyguards.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Charles can tell you we kept giving him a hard time about. Well, Sandra and I kept giving him a hard time about opening it. He was like, "Nope, not going to do it." Sandra was like, "Just take a peek, make sure everything's good." And he was like, "Nope."
He's insane.
He's a rock. He's just like a rock, man.
Yeah.
Since Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a rat. He will never squeal.
No.
He'll hold it in forever, no matter how much they interrogate him.
Tony's a ride or die kind of guy.
He is. Yeah. It's like the package on Castaway, Tom. He's not going to open it.
Nope.
That's it.
Yeah. Gotta be live.
Have you seen that one, Johnny?
No.
Oh, my God.
Of course he's not seen it. But wait,
I
you have
haven't.
seen Back to the Future, though, right?
Yeah.
Did you see Back to the Future because it has a Van Halen reference in it?
No. I wasn't even into Van Halen at the time.
Oh.
That's how I discovered Van Halen.
That's how you discovered Van Halen, yeah.
Have you seen the movie Better Off Dead?
Oh my god.
I've seen pieces of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with the dancing. Yeah.
The right pieces.
Yeah. Right. The claymation. The dancing food.
Yeah,
What is
the
it? A
dancing
pancake?
food with the whammy
Yeah.
bar hooked up to the
Yep.
toggle switch.
That's
Yeah.
so good. But that
Yeah.
movie overall,
It's like
I
pig
want my
something.
$2. It's just such a great movie overall.
So my
Yeah.
son was watching Dazed and Confused earlier today, and they
yeah.
left to go to a friend's house, and he asked me if I could record the rest of it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll record it for
I
you.
keep getting older to stay
Classic.
the same age. That's a classic movie.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
How's things going, Charles? You doing good, bro?
Doing good. Working wide open as usual. It's a good
Nice
thing.
to see you, sir.
Hey, I'm just dying for some live music.
Yeah.
Dying, it's breaking. People are starting to get tickets. That's what I hear. People are starting to get tickets to shows.
Yep. I got my tickets already for my first show. My daughter surprised me last night with tickets to Collective Soul, August 20th in Spokane, Washington. So gonna go
That's
see
going
them.
to be so good. That's
For
going
the
to be such a great show.
sixth time seeing them.
Wow. Wow.
And Tonic's opening up for them, so I'm excited to see them. I'll have to give a shout out to Nerd Halen when they're on stage.
Yeah.
Hey, Caleb says hi.
Excellent.
All right. So before we bring in our special guest, Kurt, you want to do us a roll call here, bro?
Absolutely. Man, I always get checked for the roll call. All right, here we go. Give me a second here, Tony. All right. In the chat, we got CK.
CK,
We got-
what's up, bro?
CKM Rock.
Okay.
Lenny Lou and Mary. We
Hey,
got Metal Riffs and Fun Thrash. Of course, we have Nightbot here to sweep out all the riffraff and
Nightbot's
promote.
working.
Yeah.
Finally.
Let me just say, Nightbot works, but all your links are broken.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
None of the links are complete. I'm seeing them. They're all like busted up.
John Biel.
that's it.
All right. And we have Randy Price. We
Hey,
have
Randy.
Robot Master Switch.
There he
Yo.
is.
Master Switch, man.
Of course, we have Sandra Picorni.
Hey, Sandra.
And we have Thomas.
Thomas Santiago.
Santiago.
Thomas Santiago.
He just had a birthday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yep.
Yep. We have Land Shark Mark. We got Eric Salinas.
Eric.
We have Guitar Man 45.
There he
Right.
is.
Good.
Christopher Sawa.
Chris.
Yes.
And I think that's about it.
And the rest.
Right.
And
Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Steve, thank you for the message today, man.
Tony, good timing, man.
And
Tony.
the rest.
Open
Yep.
that box, man. Open the box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I know, gosh.
The description said unboxing. Let's do this.
You guys aren't helping me here now. Come on now. I've waited since Wednesday, so.
I know.
All right, so
I don't know how you're doing it.
Tony, we had to watch you wait. That's even harder, okay?
I know. It's been a good wait, though.
Yeah, that's
I'll-
pretty great.
Wow.
I'll say that. All right, so let's bring
Strong
in
man.
our very special guest. He builds guitars. He's a huge Van Halen guy, like all of us are, and like all of you are. He's a great dude. He's going to tell us all about his custom shop, all about what's in this box. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Daly. There he is.
Thank you very much. Please don't stand up. Don't stand up. Nice,
Hey,
nice.
Neil.
Hey, guy. Hey, Johnny. What's up, everybody? How we
Hey,
doing?
Good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you officially. Yeah. So what do you guys feel like talking about tonight?
Oh gosh. how about air supply?
Oh, man. I'm all out of love. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm hoping we could talk about a little bit of Michael Bolton, maybe some Milli Vanilli. You guys are cool with that?
You know, did you hear that the guy that actually sang the Milli Vanilli songs just died this week because of COVID?
Wow.
What?
Yeah. You know, remember the Rob and Fab were the two guys that were like,
Yep.
they got,
Yeah,
but the guy that actually sang just died because of COVID. So
They're still capitalizing on that. I
The
saw
really
a video
Milli.
from like 2
so
years ago.
Pour a little something out on the curb for Milli Vanilli.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I forgot to say, Tony, Brendan B Squared is here as well. We can't forget him.
Hey,
He's
what's happening?
family.
Yeah,
So, man.
absolutely. Yeah.
And Neil, don't mind me. I just sit in the corner and eat.
Don't get Chipotle or Johnny will complain.
And Tony, he
Yeah.
thinks I'm kidding too, doesn't he?
He
There he
does. Not a week goes by. Yeah, not a week goes by.
Uh-oh,
Right,
Chrissy's here.
Sandra?
They got the naked chicken chalupas back, Johnny.
Oh, wow.
I know. I heard about that.
That's like me and the McRib.
I'm gonna have to probably try at least one.
Right.
It always freaked me out that there's no actual ribs.
Nelson Rodriguez. Hey, bud.
It's a meat bone.
Nelson.
Nelson, Quentin
Hey,
was
Kurt,
telling
you know,
guys-
I was listening to you when you mentioned before when I was backstage, you know, in the green room doing, you know, powder in my nose and whatnot. No, I heard you when you mentioned Collective Soul. I actually covered The World I Know acoustically at one of my like gigs in LA a while back. So
Oh, you
I
did.
thought that was pretty cool, man. I'm one of the few that remembers who they were.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Nice.
This is
they are.
this is my sixth time seeing them, so I may
That's a
be a
great
super
tune.
nerd. But yeah, they're a great band. They're kind of, I would say they kind of flew under the radar. They got kind of stuck in the grunge mix, but they're not a grunge band.
Now, Kurt,
No,
did
they're
you first see them when they opened for Van Halen, or were you a fan prior to that?
I was a fan their first album, obviously, but I was too young to see them when they opened up for Van Halen. I was like,
Okay, because I
14.
didn't know them before they opened for Van Halen, but
Yeah.
I became a big
Mhm.
fan of them after,
Oh, man.
you know, after I saw them open for Van Halen. Because, you know, my mind at the time, I was probably really closed-minded because I only listened to Van Halen like 90% of the time back then.
I was the
And I'm
same
like,
way.
well, I'm like, if Van Halen approves of it, I'll go see them. And they came out and they opened up, and I'm like, you know, just this Les Paul with a Marshall kind of sound. I'm like, wow, these guys kick ass. Like,
Yeah, and he's their lead guitarist who's no longer with them anymore. Eddie gave him a couple 5150s
Yep,
heads,
that's
and
what I heard.
he played with them for a couple of years.
Yeah, they were
Kurt, do you
great. Though.
remember the
They were
song
wild.
Gel? Do you remember the song
yeah.
Gel? I think it was
Yeah,
on the
of course.
Beavis and Butthead soundtrack or something.
It was.
That was like
it
that.
was.
I couldn't believe that song didn't make it out. That song was fantastic.
That Beavis and Butthead soundtrack was fantastic.
Yeah, that actually was good. That really was
Yeah.
good.
So you're the same era as me. I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like
Go back
Johnny. I'm
and see
29.
Yep. Exactly.
See, I watch the show. I pay attention.
Awesome, man.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Neil knows what's going on. Neil, welcome, dude. Nice to
Yeah.
see you,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
Good to
nice
be here.
meeting
It's-
you
it's-
this
Thank
week
you very
too,
much.
man.
Yeah,
We
you know, I
all-
want to tell the viewers out there. This is a really funny story about the small network of Van Halen heads that we have. You know, when you know, I'm blessed that people are actually buying my product. It's great. And when Tony bought the guitar, this is not for you guys. This is for the people in the live chat. When Tony bought the guitar and we were talking back and forth before he bought it, and he was, you know, he knew his stuff. He was nitpicking, and in fair, you know, he was making sure that he was getting what he wanted. And then he finally sent me an email after he bought it, and he said, "Hey, you know, I don't know if you know who I am. I go by Fruitcake Tony, and immediately I stopped reading the email and laughed out loud. I literally laughed out loud. I'm like, oh my God, I've been watching this guy forever. Like, we all know each other and didn't know we knew each other. It was the weirdest thing in the world. So when he said, I do this show on Sundays, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And he says, would you come on? I'd be honored. Of course I would. Yeah, of course
awesome,
I would.
Man.
Such a great story.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's our small little community, bro. That's awesome.
It is.
Man.
It is. It really is. See, it's so funny too, putting names to the faces and stuff like that. Like Tom, when right before the show started, when he introduced you said Tom. I'm like, okay, that's Tom. And then once the show goes live and he says Bent Tom, I'm like, oh, I know that guy. All of a sudden, all these things, R2, R3, all these. It's so funny that how all these things in the live chats for months I've been following all your comments. I know all of you.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course
nice to finally meet you, bro.
Thank you. I'm just Neil Daly, so it's like I gotta go back and get creative, man. I'm gonna have to start using my porn handle. That's what I should do.
Oh.
Nice.
Neil's Daly.
Boy, you know what? That brings me back. That brings me back to these weird sense memories I had of like third grade when you're like in school, and it was always like everybody always did the I state your name when you had to repeat something, and so I would have to say I Neil Daly, and all the kids would go, "You do?"
Oh, burn.
Yeah, it was horrible. I don't think I've ever gotten over it. It still bothers me.
Yeah. That's funny.
Tony, open the box, man. Come on.
Open the box. Well, yeah, Johnny, isn't your OnlyFans Johnny Long Bean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I was just on there earlier, but
That's funny. Was he in a hot tub?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You saw that one, yeah. You saw it. Yeah.
Hugging a pickle.
Anyway, open that box, Tony.
Oh my God!
You kids ready to open this box?
What's the background of this box opening, Tony?
It got here Wednesday.
Hey, Quentin.
And I've been looking at this at this brown box for a number of days now.
Did you pick it up? Does it weigh okay? Everything good?
Yeah, it weighs okay. You hold the box, you're like, older body, yeah.
Tony, about 3 months ago, you and I spoke about this guitar. You described it to me. You said, this is what I want. You hadn't spoke to anyone else about it. You were looking. You spoke to a few people. But you've literally got with you exactly what you said you wanted to have.
Oh, man.
To the detail.
Yeah.
And I think that is so cool because you didn't settle. You could have settled. You had so many opportunities. You're off your path, man.
When you will.
You left and right. But you stick to your guns and you're getting exactly what you described to me on the phone. Kudos to you, my man. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Lenny Lou. Can you imagine if it was a bunch of boxes and all of a sudden it gets down to a box that's this big? It's a mini guitar. It's like one of those.
I should have done that. I should have done like the Russian doll thing. The Russian doll thing where every box is inside a box and keep opening it until you get a tiny guitar.
It was that size, yep.
Right. And then
this side.
And then the doorbell rings and it's Uncle Eddie and he's got Neil wrapped up in a bow like Uncle Eddie.
Surprise!
Crazy.
Now, since you wrapped it, is there a box within a box? Seriously, is there another box in there? Is it double boxed?
Wait, you asking me?
Can you? I'm asking Tony.
It looks like just a box. It doesn't feel like it's
okay.
moving around in there or anything. I mean,
I was going to say, just give us a little teaser and just take out the outer box until you get down to the inner
Yes.
core.
Yes, Quentin, we all know
I'm
you
having
got
a weird flashback to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation where they box up the cat.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I hope the guitar's in there.
here's what let's do. I'm gonna stand up, take these headphones off, and I'm gonna zip this thing out.
Wait a minute.
I won't be able to hear you guys.
Are you wearing jeans?
I have on pants. All right.
All right, good. All right, let's do this.
Zip it out. Ooh,
Yeah.
it's military grade.
Little does he know, guys. I bubble wrapped the shit out of this thing, so it's going to take him 10 minutes to get through it all. So we're
And then he's
watching
gonna
this for a
play
while.
with all the bubbles.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
part alone should be a pay-per-view.
Yeah, we'll have him redo right now with the bubble wrap noise.
Right now, Fruitcake Tony is opening a guitar.
Man loses finger
That should
while
be in the
unboxing
video.
a guitar.
Yeah, there you go.
That looks like a Tonto blade.
Yeah,
The
that's
shape of
Tom. You know your stuff. Those are good knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, angled for your pleasure.
Oh,
My son now wants like a Damascus blade. I'm like, dude, I don't have a couple grand to drop on a knife. Like a real one, you know?
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
peanuts.
Start mowing
Hey.
some more lawns, you know?
There you go. That's what we had to do.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Wearing out my Van Halen cassettes.
Yep.
Oh, Johnny's tripping.
What's up, Dwight? I was getting dizzy there.
Right?
What's up, Laz?
I like
What's
your
up,
kitchen,
Laz?
Johnny.
Laz, how you doing, bro?
Oh, thank you, man.
Yo, Laz.
Laz, dude, are you going to be up in Walnut Creek tomorrow? Looks like
Laz,
I'll be
man.
up there.
Laz man cometh.
See, if this was like a news segment right now, the producers would be going, stretch, keep talking.
Yeah. Back to you, Tom, in the park. How's the weather out there?
It's a little bit cold. That's what I put on my sweatshirt tonight.
We should have isolated Tony. This is a
Uh,
pretty big
This would
event.
be
I mean, he
fine.
has
I
a
would love to hear him.
drumstick.
I would love to hear him talking to himself.
Yeah, we got a drumstick off kilter on the
son of
display
a
back there.
bitch, I can't get this piece of tape off. What the hell am I going to do? I wish I still had that kernel
I
knowledge
got
chip on.
this stuff everywhere.
Peanuts everywhere. The one Tony's wearing, I had that one. in
Yeah,
the past. That was a
I
great
told the
shirt.
story on Johnny's show, but I had the
I protect
from
my
Lawful Kernel
investment,
Knowledge
Tony.
that said FUCK on the back, and then it had for Unlawful Kernel Knowledge on the back. And the first time my mom watched it, she folded it, saw it, and threw it in the garbage. I waited like
Oh,
2 months for that
man.
thing to come in the mail.
Oh,
So pissed.
I had that one too. It didn't get thrown
Dude.
out, but I had that one.
And the other one was Right Now Youth is King, and she's like, "You can have
I had
this
that
one."
one too. I also had Who the Fuck is Eddie Van Halen?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you got that?
That's a good one.
That shirt's awesome.
Yeah. Those are- I don't have many more. I don't have any of those anymore. I think I have one of them somewhere. I have pictures of me wearing them. And then, what are the other ones? The Right Here, Right Now shirt. And then all that.
Mm-hmm.
I got a really good. I found a
think
good
my
one on
first
eBay.
one was
Sorry, no, go ahead, Tom.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I found a 1978 Texas Jam shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's
That
gorgeous.
is-
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I'm hesitant to wear it because every time I wear it, people are like, "Oh my god, yeah, I was at that show," and I'm like, I was like 4, so sorry, but it's a good looking shirt.
Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah.
Uh
Well,
oh.
right,
Tony,
Tony.
you were at almost every tour, weren't you?
I've got 8 pounds of this white I got it everywhere. It's all over the desk, all over the chair, all over the floor.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. If Neil wasn't on this show, if Neil wasn't on here, it'd be like, this goddamn guy that packed this box.
I need to call Molly Maid now.
I'm protecting my investment, man. You should be happy.
Right.
Oh, it's very well packaged.
I said the same thing, then my wife got pregnant.
That can
Oh my God, thank you for doing that joke, because if you didn't, I was going to say something. So thank God it was you.
Oh my goodness.
So
right.
Tom, as he's opening this,
Oh, it's out. It's out.
Ready?
Oh,
Tony, look at that.
Oh man!
Johnny.
Wait, go back to the headstock. Go back to the headstock.
Tony, just give a little head right there.
I can see the burns already, man. I can see the cigarette burns already, man.
I know.
I'm getting excited.
Johnny, you missed the head.
So Tom, I know you built one of these. How long did you take to put yours together from start to finish?
I did it with my son, like usually one day a week on the weekends for maybe like a couple hours, and we did it over a period of like a couple months.
Okay.
Kind of spread it out. So
Yeah.
I don't know in total. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I wouldn't have any idea. Tell you a number of hours, like, you know, if it was all at one time. You know, I've done other ones. I mean, I've done one before. You know, if you do with the real quick drying rattle cans, I've done other guitars in like 2 days on a weekend.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Dude,
There
looking
you
good.
go.
Looking good.
Tony, present.
Oh, look at that, man.
Present.
The
I don't
paint
think
looks-
I've ever seen him so happy.
Tony,
Yeah.
solo
Is he
yourself out,
drooling?
brother. Solo yourself out,
Present
man.
yourself.
Dude.
Neil, the paint looks
man.
good. Paint looks good.
You gotta
Let's see
solo
this.
yourself, man.
Yeah, here you go.
Dude.
Do it.
Wow,
Oh,
look
shit.
at that, dude.
That is super nice, man.
That looks
Damn.
amazing.
Tony, that's so
Let me
cool,
get
dude.
the snow off of everything. Oh,
Man.
man, you are kidding. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Tony,
Oh, shit. Dude.
Tony, you know what I want to see? Hold up that belt buckle rash area, man. Hold that part up.
Dude.
Hold that part up, man. You know that part, I mean. On the
Dude.
back. Man, that's awesome.
All right.
Tony, you
Tony,
there?
he's
I
gonna
need my
pass out.
shades. I
Good
need
job,
my
Neil.
shades now.
He needs some tissue.
I need my shades now.
Tissue for his eye. Well,
I'm falling out of this chair. Holy shit.
Dude,
Your
that
camera's
Um,
getting steamed up.
All right.
It's getting hot in here.
You ready for this, kids?
Just take
Um,
off all your clothes.
I think I've got a striped boner. Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Man, dude,
Oh,
that is
Yeah,
beautiful. That is beautiful.
Looking good.
That's insane.
Here
You know what I
we
have
go.
to say?
Money
You know what I
shot.
gotta say? I don't want to interrupt, but before I forget, but I was saying this to Tony when he was showing me the still photos. I said, this is something that like 95 out of 100 people you say that make Frankie replicas don't get right, that you obviously got right. That there's more of a gloss look to the body on the real one than people realize.
And this show through on the black stripes is
Yep,
perfect.
yep.
The ghost stripe.
Yep, the
Yeah.
ghosting. Yep, exactly. Those two things, which are like so difficult to do right.
Man,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
And you
That
only
is
kind of have one
absolutely
shot at it. So
Well, exactly. You got to start over if you get that wrong. You know, you got to stand it all back. That's crazy.
Man, you build beautiful guitars, bro. You build
Yeah.
beautiful
Thank you.
guitars.
Thank you guys.
That is
You know, as
really
much
nice
as I'm
work.
having fun,
Oh,
you know,
look at
talking
that.
trash and
Nice.
being sarcastic, I'm really, really excited when you guys see when the product's
Here we go.
revealed and his response, like all that stuff. And I
Oh,
can't wait to
man.
like I can't wait. I could talk about it for the next hour.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Oh, you
The
got
only thing you can do to that guitar right now is just play the shit out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't
That is
call me
absolutely
tomorrow.
beautiful.
Don't call me tomorrow. I'm busy tomorrow.
Tony, what time should I be there tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
Dude,
got the noiseless springs on there. Awesome.
I did, and I'm gonna talk once we start talking about the guitar
The
for
big
all
block.
the purists out there. For the purists out there, I'm
But look-
gonna explain everything that I did.
Even the paint underneath the springs
Yeah.
is right. Look at that, man. Which is that's everyone else just leaves that like, I'm not gonna do all that. Man, you got the smallest details.
Yeah,
Hey,
the buckle rash looks good.
That's
Is that the
nice.
blue? Is that the blue paint underneath it? That little blob
Yeah.
of blue?
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
spots.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
the hell out! Oh man, you really paid
Well, look
attention
at
to
the rip.
detail.
Charles, look
Yeah,
at
I
the
saw
rip
pictures
reflector.
from the Met. Somebody posted pictures from his exhibit at the Met, and you could see
Yeah.
that's one of the details that everybody misses. You know, as a matter
Yep.
of fact, when you tell
Yep.
people you're putting blue paint on the Frankie, everybody's like, "Why? Why would you ever do that?" I'm like, "Trust me, it's
Because
there."
Eddie
Yeah.
made a mistake. That's why.
Hey,
Yeah, because
Tony,
he leaned it against a wet wall.
Yeah.
let me
Wow.
let me just give me a moment. Let me just look at this thing and not on this screen.
Nerd
Tony.
Halen. Nerd Halen's in the house here.
Caleb,
Oh,
what's
Nerd
happening,
Halen.
dude?
Is Caleb
Hey,
here?
Yeah, Caleb's here.
nice. Tony, after you get a minute to look at that, can I see then when you're done? Can I see above the quarter, like near where your forearm would come down, like close up on the screen?
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite spots.
And the quarter
Dude.
does. I purposely left I put one screw in the quarter so it does shift. You can actually rotate it to under the Floyd if you wanted to. If you wanted
Nice.
to drop it half a step.
Nice.
Yeah.
And obviously, guys, the whammy bar's included. I put it in an envelope, but I didn't want to ship it with the whammy bar on. So
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Beautiful. Man, oh man.
Nailed it.
Nice. Nice.
What's up, Caleb? I missed Caleb's message. I was looking, I didn't see him in the chat, and then I'm like, realized I'm so used to seeing him on Johnny's show, so his name's highlighted, and I'm looking for that. So that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
missed it.
You're
Nice
looking for the
brass
wrench.
block.
Exactly.
yeah, I went bigger with the brass
Nice.
block for more sustain. I personally, I love a 37 brass block, 37 millimeter, or even a 42 if there's.
Neck looks good. Neil, I'm impressed.
Notice the white little paint dot in the
Yeah,
center pickup
yeah,
cavity
yeah.
where he had the red
Mhm.
he had the red jewel for a little while.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bedazzle.
Yes, it was bedazzled like a jean jacket.
Hey, Tony, can you go in like above the 71 quarter up like where the forearm would come down? Come a little bit towards the bridge. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that ghosting, man. Wow. Yeah.
Man, that's nice.
And you can
Hey,
see
let's
where the white and the black almost blended together. It almost has a bluish gray hue on the edge where his sweat went into it and blended that too.
And
Yeah,
you have
there's
the
a
wood
lot
screws
of-
in
That's
the
awesome,
Floyd
man.
too.
That's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah. But the fogging aspect is actually really tough to recreate. Really
Well,
tough
that's
to
what I'm
recreate.
that's what
where-
I'm saying. That's crazy. Looks
Yeah.
good, man. Looks really
All right,
good.
so-
See the bottom. Let's see the Swiss cheese bottom there by the tail end of the bridge, where the strap lock goes from the end.
Oh, the light's blocking. I saw it for a second.
Just for a second.
Yeah, the
Well, it's not like
5150.
the 5150 is the one that's all cheesed out.
You're right.
That's got that's probably got 6 holes in it.
Yeah, it might be the one you're looking at.
So, Tony, what's the first words coming out of your mouth?
Yeah.
That's all, folks.
Wow.
Dude, I'm speechless.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
I am.
Good job, Neil.
I am
Thank you guys. Thank you.
speechless.
Thank you very much,
Well
Tony.
Well
Tony,
done, dude.
I'm happy.
Job well done.
I'm happy knowing that it went to a good home. There's nothing more I want in the world than to give these to people that appreciate them. That's all. That's what it's all about. That's why I do it.
Bro, you had 2 on there, and by the time I shot it to Tony, there was 1 left, and did he get the last one?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's funny that, and obviously we can talk about the details of the guitar in a second, but in terms of selling them, a couple of them I made for friends, a couple of them I have all musician friends, and everybody's like, convert my Strat and things like that. So, and then a couple of people have asked me to put one together, but they don't have, they've got $800. So it's, kind of nitpicking here and there, trying to pick and choose where you're going to cut corners. I've built from scratch. This is the 9th one now, the 9th one that I've done, and that's it. And every single one of them I have listed online somewhere. They have sold within 24 hours. So,
I'm sure.
Smokes.
yeah, 24 hours. They've gone immediately. I mean, I wish in a perfect world, I would have enough inventory to be able to crank out a bunch of them. But then also, I'd be sacrificing something too, though, and I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that everyone, I put the exact same amount of love and appreciation and joy into the product that Eddie did. That's the whole point of doing it.
Sure.
I want everyone to be one that I would put it this way. Here's a really good analogy. And this is what my fiance laughs at me every time I do this, because as soon as I build one and list it, the moment it sells, I get depressed. And I say, it's going to be hard to let this one go. And I've said that 9 times in a row. And she laughs at me every time because she's like, isn't that kind of why you're doing this? And I'm like, yeah, but
That's good.
it's my baby. All of a sudden now it's like, oh, this is a really good one. I don't want to let this go. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
That is so cool.
Well, like you said, taking your time getting it right. I like this. It's a saying. I think it comes from the Navy SEALs, but it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. If you rush and hurry through, you're going to end up having to redo it or fix something or whatever, or it's just not going to be right.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. Truth be told, I probably did when I first decided to do this. And we can there's plenty of time for us to. I'll give you my backstory and when I started doing it and why I did it and all this stuff. I'm going to have fun talking about this, but I made a lot of mistakes too. There were certainly it certainly didn't cut. There's no way out of the box. The first one I built looked like that. It didn't. That would be impossible, and I'd be lying if I said it did. So
if you told me that, I'd be scared.
right. But I was building my own first. I wanted one for me before I ever planned on trying to commercially make one available. I was building one for me, and it probably took me 4 attempts to get it right, to get it not only aesthetically look right, but playable and have good, playability and at low action and the Floyd, bounce back into tune and all the things that were there. And there are people that study the Frankenstrat now that have only noticed things that when it was listed at the Met recently. Mm-hmm. People, there are people that are only now discovering new things about the guitar. So it's, there's never going to be a perfect replica. There never will. It would be impossible. So I'm a student of it, and I'm a sponge for knowledge, and I pour my heart and soul into it, and I love finding something new, discovering something new that other people that are building them make mistakes on. So
it's excellent.
Very cool.
Jay Hannon in the house.
Hey now.
Yeah, man.
So, Neil, I got a million questions for you, but I won't ask them all. I'll narrow it down to 2.
Okay. Wow. That's
the neck. What are you doing to relic the neck? You don't have to give up your secrets, but
no. Honestly,
one of the main things you do.
It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. And what I will say is, I'm going to pay it forward with my information. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not keeping secrets, because a lot of the information I got came from other people that were free with their information, that were very generous with their information. By the end of the show, at some point, I'm sure I'm going to name all of them, but there's friends of the show, like the Rob Johnsons, the Donnie Wards, the Chris Hubbards, the David Nesdals, a lot of these guys, collectors, builders, painters, all alike. Jim Francis, Jeff Rich, all these guys. They were all very forthcoming with their information and didn't hold anything back. And I appreciate that. So I'm gonna pay them the same courtesy of doing the same thing. I'm not gonna hold anything back. There's no secrets I have. So, okay, to answer your first question, let's talk about the neck. First and foremost, I want to point out to the purists out there, this guitar does have a skunk stripe on the back of the neck. The original Frankenstrat didn't. I don't want people to think that that was a mistake I made that I wasn't aware of. I was aware of that. Very good. Yeah. A couple of things to know about that. And again, when you understand my strategy for these builds, my overall strategy was, and I was my own perfect test market for this guitar, because I wanted the most accurate Frankenstrat I could get that I could afford. And as an actor and a musician, and during the pandemic and during quarantine and being out of work, I simply couldn't afford the $2,000 Eddie Van Halen Stripe Series, the EV8 Stripe Series, or some of the custom builders that are making them for $3,000 and $4,000. I simply couldn't afford it, but I wanted one for myself. So I had to figure out how. And then of course there were the DHgate and Wish and AliExpress, some of those. There are people that are getting, Chinese knockoffs that are spending $300 for them, and they're getting them, and people are saying that they're wall pieces at best. They're not playable. They're just horribly put together guitars. So I figured there had to be a middle ground somewhere. There had to be something in the middle. There had to be something that I wanted. If I wanted one that I somehow had to figure out a way to afford, I knew that other people had to be like me. There had to be other people out there that wanted a piece of rock and roll history, wanted a piece of memorabilia, they love Eddie, they love the guitar, they love Van Halen, the band. For whatever reason, there's got to be a way to split the difference and find a middle ground where people can afford it. So that being said, that brings me back to the question about the neck. So when we're discussing the neck, obviously, the skunk stripe, for people out there that are unaware, the skunk stripe is the walnut strip right on the very back of the neck. It's darker colored than the maple. Yeah, there it is. That was kind of introduced by Fender in I want to say the 70s, when maybe it was earlier than that, but they started, when they introduced the truss rod, they would route the truss rod through the back of the neck and install. That's how you make adjustments, and you change the relief on the neck, and then that walnut strip was added. A handful of guitars didn't have them. There were some vintage ones that didn't have truss rods at all. Most of the guitars you see with a Fender type neck that don't have the stripe on the back don't even have a truss rod. But that's very dangerous. You're playing with fire because you can't make adjustments to it. So there's a couple of Fender guitars that still sell them without a skunk stripe, even though they have a truss rod. There are certain things that are purposely. There's like the American Player Series, the classic 60s vibe. Like Fender is recreating some without it, but they're hard to get and they're expensive. And then there are companies out there like the Music Crafts and I mentioned before, Vestige Guitars, Donnie Ward's company and stuff. Yeah, there's Locke. A lot of people that Chris Locke. There's a lot of people out there that make them, and they do phenomenal work, and they're spot on accurate, but they're also expensive. Where that's the downside to it. I was trying to find, how could I do this? So basically what I did was I figured out I wanted the Fender neck, the classic Fender neck. If the skunk stripe's on it, fine, so be it. But I'm getting an accurate Fender neck that I'm comfortable with. I know what it looks like. I know how it fits into the Fender guitar body. So the conversion is simple. So that's a sacrifice that I made. That's one of the choices I made to sacrifice to keep costs down. That helps, and that's what allows me to keep my guitars priced the way they are. So to the relicing process that you first asked about, a lot of things involved. First of all, I'm getting necks a lot of time, if it has a finish on it, if you're buying, like I've bought used guitars, I bought pawn shop guitars, I bought necks specifically, guitars on eBay specifically so I could rip the neck off it, things like that. A lot of them have like a lacquer finish or a finish. So
Nitro.
the first thing I do is I sand them down. Yeah, nitro. Yeah. So I sand them down, and I sand them down hard, and I get them. You know, Eddie never had finish on the back of his neck. It was play. That's why it looked so gross. It was oil and sweat and use. So I sand them down entirely, sand down between the frets, and then I'll end up polishing the frets too. But then sand the headstock, do everything, take all the hardware off, put it together. So then with the first thing I do is the cigarette burns. And that's because that's one of the most noticeable, memorable parts of the headstock. And it's kind of fun to do. So I do, there's tricks to it. I've seen other people just use a lighter and hold it up and burn it for a couple seconds. I've seen other people do it with marker. I've seen things done. I personally, because time was on my side during the quarantine, I had no problem just lighting a cigarette, putting it under the strings like Eddie did when he played live. And I would, blow on, kind of keep the burn going, and I would just let it burn, and I would let the cigarettes burn, and I would do it. It would take sometimes a couple of days, but I'd be outside doing something else, painting or sanding or doing something else, and I would just leave the cigarettes burning on the headstock until it got it right. And I've had plenty of close-up pictures of his actual one to know exactly. There's 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom coming from underneath. And that's where they are. And then some of the guitars that had a Fender logo on them too, I would sand that off because obviously his didn't. Yeah, stuff like that. And then for the actual neck itself, in between the frets, I played around with a lot of different tricks per se. I know people have used pencil lead. I know people have used a lot of things. My favorite has been to make a mixture in like a little tiny coffee mug of True Oil and graphite powder, True Oil and graphite powder, and I mix it up and I paint it on with a brush, and I paint it sloppy, and I kind of look at where the majority of his playing would be. Obviously the higher up the neck you go, there's going to be more. There you go, right on. There's going to be more wear and tear on the high strings as opposed to the low strings. And then there's certain spots. The 12th fret, it has got a lot of play on it. The 5th and 7th have a lot of play on it. So I kind of got an idea of where fingers would go and where you're going to get a lot of wear. So I slap that stuff on. I let it dry a little bit, and then I sand it off again, and then I'll Scotch-Brite until I get the look that I want. And the best thing about that stuff is if I'm not happy with it, I can do it. I can do it over. And I'll keep doing it until I get it right. And the same thing with the back. Again, it's a little bit of like maybe a stain with graphite powder on a paper towel, and I'll wipe down the back of the neck where my hands would go if I was playing it live, and kind of mix that together. And I'll keep doing it until I get it right.
Love it. Ever use a like the old woodworkers trick? Use like a steel wool and vinegar and let it
Yeah,
chain reaction, and then do it with tea.
I haven't done. I've seen that. I've seen that done. I haven't done that again.
I do it on a lot of my necks just because it chemically changes the very first layer of the wood and just makes it. Basically, it reacts. It's an acid reaction. Actually, chemically ages the first layer of the wood. So I do it just for the feel on a lot of necks. I mean, I can show you
that's awesome. Please do show it. I going back to what you said. I mean, when we get to the hardware, I'll discuss how I relic the hardware. But there's I do a lot of acid reactions with it. Wow, that's amazing.
Great.
That is amazing. That looks 30, 40 years old.
But it was done in 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's gorgeous. That looks great. And
stuff I find this stuff tougher to do. Artificially cracking the nitro, you can't see it on the camera, but
heat and cold.
But doing it, not what you're saying, Rev, not where it does with lines, but doing it the way on the headstocks where it actually shrinks. Because if you do too much heat or too much cold, or do them too soon after each other, it's riding the peaks and valleys of it just right where it sets in and doesn't crack off, but kind of crackles and comes in a little. And I've just been working on it on this neck, and you can't see it on the camera rather, but it's hard to see my camera won't focus well enough.
Cool.
No, it won't do it, but that kind of stuff that you got right on Tony's guitar that is so impressive that I've been trying to do that I still can't do, but I'm working on, you know.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
I'm
this one
inspired.
was bare maple, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard to see in the light. Actually, you can probably see it right here.
I can see it.
Yeah,
Is that a 21 or a 22 fret?
22 fret, and this is the
Yeah.
Bumblebee. So I got the
Oh, perfect. Yeah, got it.
the knot on it. But I was going to show you guys real quick on my Frankie. I didn't do cigarettes. I did. You see the spots?
Yeah. Yeah, what'd you use? Oh, you got the Gibson logo too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got the Gibson right here. One of these wood finish pins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. See, yeah, exactly. I've seen that done. I've even tried that myself too. So there's no right or wrong answer to it. You know, I tried to, you know, I was trying to go cheap and authentic. That's what I was trying to do. And cigarettes were cheap. That's what Eddie used. So that's what I used.
Yeah,
There you go.
No, I
That's
want to do
definitely
cigarettes
cool.
too, but
Awesome.
yeah, awesome. And then my last question, and I'll let
Yeah.
everyone else go. But what do you have for a pickup in that thing?
Great question. So basically what I did, I kind of wanted it to sound original in tone. Obviously nowadays they make there's an EVH Frankenstein pickup. There's Pariah makes a great one. There's Jalen, Seymour Duncan.
Yeah, there's 7 or 8
custom
companies that make one.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that make recreations of it. However, what you got to remember, or what I chose to do, was remember that in 1974 when he put this guitar together, those things didn't exist yet. So the one guitar, the pickup that I chose that I found kind of most resembled the PAF that he ripped out of his 335 and slapped in there was the Seymour Duncan 59. And that's
cool.
the one.
Yep.
That's the one that I kind of went with. And again, I've got a guitar tech out here, a guy that actually builds them for me. I gave him the exact specs, everything of the Seymour Duncan 59, and he recreated it for me and built it. And it's wax potted. It's everything that, the same resistance, same all the aspects. Alnico 5 magnet. It's everything that the 59 has. And and then again, just by raising and lowering the pickup under the strings, there's a sweet spot pretty close to the strings, but it's, for the most part, I mean, if you're not using a whole lot of effects, if you're not using pedals, if you're trying to get the truest Brown sound just with a guitar and amp from the VH1, VH2, that's my personal preference is the 59, and that's what I chose to do. Awesome. Now, that being said, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, we want this guitar, but we have a particular pickup we like," of course, I'll slap in whatever they want. That's just this is the one that I chose to use.
Love it. Yeah, my 5150, I have a JB knockoff. I got a guy back in New York who makes them exact same output. Same everything. And it's
here's my take on it, Rev. I like to think that I know, and oh man, I'm glad that I have this pickup because it's got, and I'm not saying good or bad because I bought this because I think they make great stuff. But Jalen, but what I love about the Jalen stuff too is they don't bullshit you. They're not trying to charge you $400 for a single bridge humbucker because they spent 5 minutes aging the humbucker. Like, I get it if they charge me $40 more for the H humbucker, but don't charge me $180 more for the H humbucker. You're not fixing someone's heart inside of their beating inside of their chest. Okay, you're aging a pickup a little bit, but that kind of BS stuff I hate. It's like if tell me this, Rev, if you had a 9K PAF style pickup that had the exact same sandcast magnet in both, wound with the same gauge wire, and they were two different, manufacturers, and they're going through a blazing, 100-watt head cranked with, even no effects. Could you honestly tell me which one was which? I don't think I could.
No way I could.
No
way I could. I'm trying to get in the ballpark. I'm just trying to get
exactly.
And my JB knockoff was $40.
Exactly.
And mine was 50.
I got the 78 Pasadena from Planet Tone and my white and black Frankie. That was $60. Yeah. And if they're going to charge me another $60 to relic it, I'll just take it brand new and relic it myself.
There you go.
Well, it's like if you went to a restaurant and they said, no, you can't recreate our fish tacos. There's no way. And you're like, well, I brought in a 5-star chef and he's been doing it, or she's been doing it for 40 years. So I'm pretty sure they can look at it, eat it, and then take it home and recreate it. You know,
I agree with you. I think people, if you don't know, I don't want to say this to offend anyone, but ignorance costs you money.
No, it does. Yes, it does.
But then again, on the flip side of that, knowledge is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, at the end of the day, the pickup is probably the one thing on this guitar that is most open to interpretation. If I asked 10 different people what guitar or what pickup they would put in their own Frankie, I'd probably get 10 different answers. So that's the one thing, the choice I made was what was available in 1974 at the time. And that's kind of what I went with. And again, swapping out pickups is something I tinker with every day on my own guitars. I do it left and right. So to everybody that has one of my guitars, they're more than welcome to swap them.
Yeah, Ed had probably 4 different pickups in that thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure there were.
Unless you plan on taking your Frankie on, legitimately taking it like on a jazz gig, I think any of those style pickups like that are going to work as long as it's hot enough, and they're all going to be hot enough, It's
right. Another thing, since we're talking about the pickup too, I want to point out, this is just another thing that I want to point out to the purists out there. There are a lot of people that are going to look at that and be like, well, it's not angled. This pickup is straight. It's in a straight horizontal line. Why didn't you angle the pickup like Eddie did in 1974?
I know.
And to that, I would say, and this is to those people, I would want to make sure that they understand how pickups are made. And a Gibson bridge, which is, he took his pickup out of a Gibson at the time. A Gibson bridge was thinner than a Fender strap bridge, so the poles were closer together. There's F space pickups and G space pickups, and what Eddie used on that one, and to put it in lay terms, the strings didn't align with the poles on Eddie's, so he had to rotate it. He had to, so that at least one magnet would line up with each string no matter what. If you rotated it clockwise, then the back pole on the low E string would line up with the string, and the front pole on the high E string would line up. At least it did. But it was purely by happenstance. It was purely by that he had to do that to get the strings to align.
Right.
Now, there are other people that came afterwards that said that, he did that on purpose, because if you move the pickup closer to the neck away from the bridge, you're going to get more of a chunky bassy sound out of it, and the higher pickup being, you're going to get more gain and trebly sound by angling it back, because everybody knows if you play, as you play anything closer to the neck, it gets more trebly. The reality is, and I don't know if there is an exact answer to this, I don't think Eddie even took that into account at the time. I think he was strictly trying to align the poles.
Absolutely agreed.
That's my opinion. So nowadays we have the luxury of, with these pickups being made now, you can get F space pickups or G space pickups. You can get trembuckers, as they call them, which are specifically pole aligned for a Floyd Rose, which is what mine is. So hence, there's no reason to actually angle the pickup. And to carry that forward, now, I certainly could have done what he did because it would look more authentic and accurate to his. But the problem with that is then you're also got to take into account the routing of the body cavity. And there's a lot more things that can go wrong. I'm a firm believer in less is more. So the more things I can get to sound right without having to do a whole lot of digging into the guitar, the more I'm happy with. So that was, again, my choice. But to the purists out there, yes, I know it's not an angled pickup. That was my choice.
It's a tribute.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's tribute. It's tribute. Thank you. You're right. It's not a replica. Exactly.
Plug it in, Tony. Plug it in.
Yeah. In this particular guitar as well, if you look at the middle pickup cavity, for example, again, Eddie's was a single coil guitar body, so he had to hand chisel and route it. As a matter of fact, I'm working on one right now. You'll see right here. Go. This, I have hand chiseled out exactly what Eddie's would be like. And I brought this up. All of this I did by hand. However, I certainly would rather not have to do that if I didn't have to. And so that guitar body, I was lucky enough with that one where on a body like this, there's enough room in the middle cavity for the selector switch. So if I don't have to route it, I don't want to.
That's all right.
Nice.
You're doing with what the equipment you got and the product that you got. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I've mentioned this to somebody else before. Real quick, there are spot on replica builders out there and everything, but to get the spot on accurate custom made hand built body could cost you $200. To get you the custom neck hand built exactly to spec, 21 frets, no skunk stripe, but it could cost you $300. To get a 1984 Floyd Rose could cost you $300. So
original tuner,
So right there, you're $800 in, and you've got 3 items for the guitar. That doesn't take into account the 500K pot, low friction, so you can do the cathedral knob tuning. That doesn't take into account the locking tuners and all the, the pickups, all of that stuff. You don't take that thing into account. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to keep this guitar cost under $1,000. That was my goal.
Yeah, you start adding all that stuff in, you're gonna go 2.5, 3 times that price. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. 200 here, 500 here, 800 here, 100 here.
Right.
Adds up quick.
Yeah, it does.
What kind of Floyd Rose is that?
I'm glad you asked that. It's a Korean. It's an official Floyd Rose. It's an actual official Floyd Rose, but it's made in Korea, not in Germany. Now, the reason I opted to that, and I did my own research on this. I went to a whole bunch of chat rooms because the first guitar I built, I gotta admit, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I got one of the licensed Floyd Rose tremolos from eBay for like $30, and boy, oh boy, it was even a waste of $30. It was pointless and it was terrible. So I knew I had to upgrade. It wouldn't keep tune. It was stripping it. There you go.
Yeah, it's not on a guitar. That'll tell you.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a paperweight.
So, yep. So I started doing some recon on this because I knew that was going to be a deal breaker. If I had a guitar that couldn't stay in tune, that was going to be a deal breaker. Nobody would want my product. Doesn't matter how pretty it looked. So I ended up I did a bunch of research. I started looking into Floyd Rose specials. And for the most part, compared to the original Floyd Roses, the German-made ones and the Korean-made ones, the Floyd Roses still, people said that the machining wasn't great. It was a drop-off in quality, and people were surprised that they were going on guitars that were $1,000. Most of the people I talked to said that a Floyd Rose special shouldn't be on a guitar that costs more than $500. And I found that interesting. So I started looking at the differences between the official Floyd Rose, the OFRs, the German-made ones compared to the Korean ones. And for the most part, the reality is all I could find out was the labor was different. The metallurgy and the machining was all the exact same. One of the only complaints about the Korean-made ones was that the brass tuners, or the tuners, the fine tuners, were slightly grabbed a bit and weren't very smooth. But I have a tendency to swap out my fine tuners anyway with Floyd Rose. I like to put brass on them, like on the 5150 and things. So that's something I switch out anyway. But almost every single article I read or chat room that I joined said that the Korean.
Oh,
you guys still there?
You're back.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep. All right. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Almost to a man, every single person I've talked to or every expert I interviewed about this said that the difference between a Korean-made one and a German-made one is almost unnoticeable to the average player. And so, if the saddles stay intact and they don't wear and the metal is the same, that's eventually what I cared about. And it keeps the cost down.
Well,
stay in
tune, right? Does it?
Yeah, it stays in tune and it's half the price.
There you go.
When they one of the interviews I saw with Tom Weber, and he was talking about the last time that Eddie had the FRANKIE out, and he said the only parts that they replaced in it that were breaking were not any of the big main pieces. It wasn't like the frame was cracking. He said it was the fine tuners.
Yeah.
The saddles, up at the locking nut, and then the saddles, of course. He said those we replaced with titanium. Then they never broke again. He goes, we would break the stainless steel ones like every 2 shows because he said literally he made me wrench it so tight that the tool was almost going to break, and then he thought it was tight enough. You know, he said he said I've never worked with anyone that nutty about how tight they wanted it. He said so once we put the titanium stuff on, nothing else broke. He goes, there was no other weak points. It was just where it was gripping it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. And I did put some time and energy into looking at the titaniums too. And again, in a perfect world, if cost was no object,
oh yeah,
I would go that route in a heartbeat. But I mean, again, I had to split my difference.
My point being that you can buy the more affordable one and upgrade the other parts if you wanted and still be better off price wise than going all in on the the German one.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And now
I just dropped $260 for this thing.
Wow,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
That's the German.
It absolutely is beautiful. And that's the German one. And so again, like I said, from everything that I've studied, the machining is the same. They're not very noticeable between the two. And if I could keep the cost down for the buyer of the guitar, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
I have to agree. The fine tuners is the only problem I have with the because I have a USA made EVH Wolfgang, and it has the EVH branded Floyd Rose, and that's the only beef I have with it is the fine tuners. It's just like stiff.
You can upgrade them. So real quick, Tony,
I do that on all.
I'll throw myself in here real quick to make a break. I am actually I've been invited to a private party. I get to meet Mr. Tom Weber next Friday in Oregon.
Oh my God!
5-Star Guitars in Beaverton, Oregon's doing a benefit event for Tom to try to help him with his financial situation. And I'm taking 2 guitars with me. I'm going to take my Axis and my 5150, and he's going to set them up for me like Eddie's set up.
That is
so wait, if he's going to set them up like Eddie's did, have you heard the story about how it's not going to sound like it's in tune?
Yeah, he does. It's a funky tuning. Yeah,
because there's the weirdest. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too off track, but I'm fascinated by this story. I love this story. When Tom Weber was talking about how he got the job of being Eddie's guitar tech, they had interviewed like 3 or 4 guys first, so it wasn't going well. And Matt Bruck brought him up to 5150 and said, "All right, I need you to tune this guitar the way you think Eddie would want it tuned." And
he took it home for the night, right?
Not the first one, the second one.
Okay.
I'll get to that. So the first one he had to do on spot. He gave him 5 minutes, and he basically said, Tom is sitting there thinking, all right, if they've interviewed 5 guys and they're not getting the job done, I got to think outside the box. What would be different? And he said he remembered that Eddie had a super strong handshake and his forearm was strong. So he put more pressure on the strings with his fingers than the average thing. And he plays like a classical pianist. So long story short, Tom figured, I'm going to tune it slightly flat because Eddie will sharpen the strings with his pressure and bring him into tune. And so he set it up that way, and it was a weird, funky tuning. And Matt Bruck took it, went up to the house with Eddie, gave it to Eddie. Tom hadn't met Eddie yet, or he had met him before, but not this time. Matt goes up to the house. He's there for 10 minutes, brings the guitar back. Again? Hello? Sorry. Okay.
You're there.
You're there.
So Matt brings back the guitar and says, Eddie loved it. He said, nobody else has been able to do this right. You were exactly right. Now, I'm going to give you another guitar. Take it home. Take it to your hotel room for the night. Bring it back tomorrow. Because Eddie wants to know if you're good or if you're lucky. And that's the story. So Tom said he brought it back the next day, nailed it. And Eddie was like, where have you been my whole career? This is great. So yeah, I can't wait for you to meet him.
That's a great story.
It's going to be, they're going to do a live stream on Facebook.
Awesome.
It's 2 p.m. Pacific this Friday night.
Awesome.
So I'm going to take the 2 guitars down there. He'll restring them. He'll intonate it. He'll set the action and the tuning. And then they're going to have a couple auctions that they're throwing up. One is a guitar that Eddie gave to Tom and signed for him. They're going to throw up an auction. And then I actually get to go do dinner with him that night.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
I've
Nice.
actually, when I first heard Tom's story and all the stuff, I shared his GoFundMe page and everything and tried to share that with everybody I know because there's no way I want this guy who spent his career, you know, in the music business. I didn't want him to have to lose all his gear in his warehouse with everything. It's not in his house.
And anyone that doesn't know, he wasn't just like a nobody and then Eddie's tech. This guy's tech for everyone. I mean, country, pop, rock, glam, anything, you know.
CC DeVille. He's got stories about
all types, all personalities, all styles.
Reba McEntire.
Humble guy because he knows like everyone.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry to diverse.
No, that's awesome, Kurt.
Perfect segue.
And you can only take 2?
Yeah, one. And Tom, I had to have the COVID shot too to go.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
So I'm pretty lucky. Yeah. My wife's gonna wonder why I'm taking 2 guitars and going out of town for the night.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
At least you got your guitars and you're not alone. So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So Neil, let's get into how you build these things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's start with, you know, I'm a musician. I've always been a guitar player, and I've always been kind of a tinkerer, much like Eddie was. I like to swap out pickups. I like to find my own sound. I like to sand the necks down. And this is all stuff I did. Maybe subconsciously I absorbed it from him for a long time, but it was also just something I like to do. I like to tinker with stuff and find a sound. So last year, 2020 happens and LA goes into a lockdown, total, you know, and I was writing and recording music in my home studio and doing all this stuff. And I kind of, you know, I had time on my hands. So I basically decided I was just going to start taking apart my own guitars and trying to build the, you know, my ideal guitar. And I would do a little of that. I would go to, I would shop on eBay. I would shop pawn shops. I would shop locally. You know, I would just reverb. I started going to a lot of places and just kind of trying to Frankenstrat my own thing without thinking I was doing a Frankenstrat at the time. That wasn't what I intended. And as we talk later on tonight, I'll show you some of my collection behind me of stuff that I built, a Telecaster. You know, like I've recreated a lot of different eras of guitars on my own. So that's what I was doing. And then I had this weird thumb injury where I almost chopped my thumb off, and I had to, it was actually, let's see if you can see this scar. I don't know if you can see. It's probably not visible. You see it?
Oh,
there's like a, so
Dude.
I almost took my thumb off. And then I had to have, so I was laid out, my hand was in the cast for a while, and then I had to have surgery to repair nerve damage, where actually it's a whole nother story. But,
I have nerve damage. I know how that is.
Yeah. I actually got the nerve of a cadaver put in my thumb. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
So yeah, I even asked if the guy could play guitar, and they were like, "What?" So,
Mine was
he was a fiddler.
They tied it off.
Yeah, but anyway, so what? To come back to your question, so I couldn't play. I couldn't actually play. I couldn't hold a pick. So I had to get by somehow. I was still writing. I was still kind of doing stuff, working on music, but I needed something to help pass the time. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to get back. I'm going to get really into building. I'm going to start doing this. And I've been, all of my friends are musicians. All of my friends are actors, musicians, whatever. They juggle all hats. So I started putting stuff together for friends, started building stuff for other people, started converting some of their guitars to other things and doing that. And then October came and Eddie died. And suddenly it hit me like a gut punch. And I literally was dumbfounded with the fact that the whole year I was like, I don't even have a Frankenstrat. And it kind of blew my mind. I was like, I've been building guitars for a while. I've been relicking, and I've been converting, and I've been doing all this stuff and building out my own collection. And I don't even have a Frankenstrat. And it blew my mind. Mm-hmm. And my fiance at the time, she'd gotten me, to little side story. Earlier in the year, when on the anniversary of Prince's death, she got me a Chinese copy of the Prince Cloud guitar, the white Purple Rain guitar, and she got it from one of those Chinese sites. And it was beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous looking, but it's not a player. It's just not, and I knew that. So it's kind of wall art, so to speak. And I reacted so well to that. She started thinking, okay, well, come Christmas time, what kind of guitar are you going to want? And I said, well, obviously the next iconic guitar I would want would be Eddie's. And so I saw the wheels turning in her head about like, okay, I'm going to have to start thinking about that. And I stopped her immediately. And I said, no. That's not something you can buy me. It's you can't buy it for me. I got to build it. That's got to be something I build. And this is before he died, before he passed. So then when he passed, that was when I decided, it was in October, and I decided I was going to give myself a Frankenstrat for Christmas. So I gave myself 2 months. So I gave myself 2 months to do it. And like I said at the very beginning, Ben, Tom, we talked about it. I made a lot of mistakes. I had a lot of routing problems. I had a lot of pole position problems, getting it like just, building, all the stuff coming from square one. I probably built about 4 of them, maybe 4, maybe 5, until I got one that I was like, this is playable. I'm happy with this. I could gig with this right now. And I put it under the tree and gave it to myself on Christmas. And that was my Christmas present. That was my Christmas present.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the best ever. And then, so, to come full circle, to make a long story short, basically then once I posted pics, I posted a couple photos, told people what I did, and then all of a sudden all my friends started coming out of the woodwork saying, oh my God, can you do that for me? Can you do that? Can you do that? I don't have this much money, but blah, blah, blah. Or I got a Squire, Strat, like a $200 Squire. Could you make me the black and white and stuff like that? And then it just became kind of a thing. And it was like, I started taking on all comers. I was like, sure. Yeah. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Some of my friends asked me to build them from scratch with used parts and kind of put it together exactly the way Eddie did. He found a body here, got a neck there. I started doing that. And then some people just had guitars that they just wanted me to gut and start over with their own product. The nice thing about those is the necks and bodies line up perfectly if it's that type of stuff. So that's always nice. You're not putting pieces together that don't match. So that was it. So then it just became a thing where, I started doing this. I had a couple of friends. The first one I sold was because a guy I know wanted one, asked me to build him one. So I did. And then he lost his job because of COVID and couldn't afford to pay me. And so the very first one I said, okay, well, let me just see what happens if I throw it online. Let me just see. And I put it up there and sold it within 24 hours. And then had a bunch of people message me saying, oh, do you have more? Do you have more? And so then I said, okay. So then then with that money, I was able to buy, enough equipment, another body, another neck, and other stuff like that. I mean, I didn't make much of a profit, but it was enough to turn it over and buy. So then I built 3 more at a time. And that, it's much easier to assembly line paint them when you're doing them all at once. It's so much easier than one at a time. But so I did that. And then I put them together, and one of my friends grabbed it immediately, said he wanted it. And then another guy who had asked for it before with the first one that I sold, I gave him 2. So then I had another one that I just put up online again, and just randomly said, okay. And then that one sold within 24 hours. And then here we are, a couple months later, I'm now 6 months into building them for other people, 9 months since I started building them for myself, and that's it. And I've sold 9 official Frankenstrats, and I've actually challenged myself just to keep things interesting for me as a creative artist type, so I built the Kramer ad guitar. Let me see if you can see these guys. I don't want to block.
Yeah.
I've got
those guitars
a Kramer ad guitar, a Geralitis. Yeah.
Whoa.
You want to see him?
Oh,
Let me pull him out.
Yeah, break them
man.
out, bro. Break them out.
And while Neil gets that, I'm just gonna inform anyone who doesn't know in the chat, or in case any of you guys don't know, Neil is way too humble. I don't know if you guys know, but Neil has been to some of like the most prestigious acting programs in the entire world, studied under some of the most prestigious acting teachers, is a classically acclaimed actor, has not only been in A-list TV and movies, but see, he's not telling you guys this. Like, I'm not going to embarrass him, but you know stuff he's been in. Like,
wait. What's the resume, man? Come on.
He's
You
going to
don't-
pick up the Shakespeare.
R2,
Here it
you
comes.
don't know
Oh
this?
my God.
R2,
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
kidding,
I'm kidding.
R2,
This
You're
is
on the
such
spot,
this,
Neil.
this
R2,
is
you
such
know
another show.
A little tiny TV show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Of course, yes.
Oh my God, I am bright red right now. Oh.
That is awesome.
More
Let's
Jack
just
Daniels.
say Neil is super
Yeah, I need more shot. I need a shot.
well-rounded, super talented, well-rounded guy, and he's super humble. I didn't want to call him out, but I knew he was hiding all this from you guys, and I knew because
Oh
my
my
sisters,
God.
my sisters used to watch Buffy when I was in school, and I was like, wait, I recognize this guy, and I was like, I gotta Google this while we're talking to him. And I'm like, God damn it, no way, that Neil Daly. You are the most humble guy ever, man. But
Awesome.
even cooler.
Very cool.
Dude, what do you think? I'm being so quiet here in the corner, man. I'm just like,
Oh my God.
I can't talk.
You guys are too much. You guys are too much. Well, okay. For people out there that are interested, go to IMDb, look me up on IMDb, so I don't have to sit here and go over my resume. And then on another episode, we'll talk about Neil Daly, the actor. But today we're just talking about Neil Daly, the builder.
I'm
John
just
Mancuda.
teasing you, brother. I'm just teasing you, but you're
No,
very humble and it, you know.
I appreciate the compliment about being humble. I do appreciate that. That's
no, you're
thank you.
totally down to earth. That's obvious.
Thank you, man. Okay, so first on the list tonight, we're going to talk about the Vetus Geralitis guitar.
Yeah.
Nice.
That
Thing's
is
so
beautiful.
badass.
Whoa, look at
Oh,
that,
yeah.
dude.
I love the gold input jack.
Yes, the gold input
And the
jack,
gold
gold tuners, gold
Yeah.
locking
Yes.
tuners.
Nice.
Let's see, we got the actual.
So that is the most unique paint job, I would say, out of all of his guitars. That one and the Ad Frankie are the most unique.
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
the seagulls on both of those have a very unique connection
Yes.
too.
Yes, and this one here, I was telling somebody else about this. I want to point this out. This is really interesting because the Frankie and the 5150, and I'm by no means unique. There's a lot of people that build them. A lot of people are doing them, making those projects. There's templates out there, painting templates and striping templates that you can download and find because people have studied it religiously. So I kind of had fun taking on the challenge of trying to build one of the rarer guitars. You know, Rob Johnson did a show. Actually, I kind of inspired it indirectly, but Rob Johnson and I were talking about the rare Kramer striped guitars a couple of months ago. And he said he was going to do a YouTube show on them and talked about, I think maybe in the show, he only got through maybe 10 of them. And there's, easily, there's so many that people don't even realize. A lot of them Eddie didn't even play. Some of them he would build and give them away and do auctions and stuff like that. This is almost identical to the auction guitar, except for the white pickup in the neck instead of black. One of the giveaway guitars. It's almost identical in every other way. And one of the things that I found when going through all this stuff too was the color red was not uniform on any of these guitars. It was fascinating. And I actually had the pleasure of talking to George Felice from Kramer. Now he's not with Kramer, but he painted Eddie's guitars in the 80s with Paul Unkert. And he, like, literally, I'm dumbfounded because I'm getting painting advice from this guy that painted Eddie Van Halen's guitars. I mean, my jaw is dropping the whole time I'm talking to this guy. And he was so nice and so forthcoming. And he pointed me at Craig Stoffko and some of the other guys that do great paint jobs, Nick Amendolara and stuff. But, one of the things they talked about was, and it was just fascinating to me, he said that when it came to the reds, it was whatever was available. It was like they didn't have they didn't.
No
Eddie said, "I want to." No rhyme or reason. It was just completely random. So you got the 5150, the Neptune, the 84 that are that are Chevy orange red, sunset orange kind of color, and then there's the Kramer Ad guitar, which is a deeper red than some of the other ones, and then these are like a bright red, and then there's these weird stories about how and George has talked about this, how they painted the red on the white stripes first. Right. And then they kind of got really lazy with adding black stripes. And what they did was they would put cardboard down on the front, but they never protected from the overspray on the side. It was
Right.
just something that they randomly did. And this,
Yeah.
I literally got from the source that he just said they didn't cover anything when it came to the black. If it bled over, so be it. And I just thought that was awesome.
I watched that
So
video
cool.
with him when he was talking to that, talking about that the other day, the old YouTube video
Yeah.
of it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
So there's that one. I'll grab another one really quick.
It's funny though, it's harder to replicate something that they did out of convenience,
So you know how they get the seagulls, Tom?
Go
He
for it.
literally takes a piece of tape and twists it and then
Oh,
cuts it and puts it
wow.
on. That's how it gets that wave.
Mhm.
Huh.
Right, Neil?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
it's
That is
awesome the
cool.
way he's talked about. Yeah. So I've got the
That's
Kramer ad,
cool.
Frankie, too, which we can talk about if you guys want, but a lot of people have seen that one. Very few people have actually recreated the Neptune guitar. Now, I wish I had a photo of this, and we'll have to share this at some point. The Neptune is the one that Eddie Van Halen famously went to the Kramer factory, had a photo shoot there. They were building it, putting one together for him. They show him playing it and putting it together, and then they painted red and white stripes. And then they left for lunch, and Eddie popped back into the factory that day and said, "What would it look like if I did this?" And he took a black can of spray paint and went, ksh, 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 and then sprayed dots on it and thought it just looked cool. And then he left, and then the guys from Kramer came back in and took a look at it and said, "What the hell? Somebody ruined our guitar." They freaked out. Like Paul Unker was going, "Oh my God, who did this?" And somebody said, "Eddie came in and did that." And Paul Unker was like, "No, he didn't. There's no way in hell he would have done that." And Eddie came back and said, "Yeah, he did." And there's a photo of him holding the body before it's put together, and a famous photo from the Kramer factory. It was in guitar magazines. And this is that guitar.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
The bleeding paint. That's great.
The bleeding paint. And this was
That's
also
awesome.
this is one of the Chevy orange red ones, the sunset orange. Actually, let me turn this
Oh
way
yeah,
so
you can see it.
Yeah. So the bleeding paint is exactly right. We got the number 1 down here,
Yep.
which he had a lot of the curves. And then let's see, we got the arrow.
Yep.
The arrow down there. And and just the
awesome.
there's a lot of people that have copies of this or have pictures of this. Very few people have ever built one. And I just decided I wanted to do it. I thought this was fascinating. And now this is one of those guitars that I will have a lot of trouble getting rid of at some point because this is just badass.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Don't get rid of it. Keep it.
Yeah,
for sure,
I'm
man.
gonna have to.
Yeah.
So what else, guys? I don't want to keep.
Here's the
I mean, I can keep doing show and tell if you want, but yeah, that's it.
There you go. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
That's it.
This is before he put the neck pickup in it.
Yeah.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't think the input jack is on there
No,
either yet. I think
and
that-
no
yeah.
strings either. Yeah.
And it's got brass tuners, by the way. Which we talked about, swapping out the fine tuners and stuff like that. So I've got the brass tuners on this too. So
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a very inexpensive little fix if someone wants to do that to their guitar. I mean, you could probably find a set for $18-20.
yeah.
You got the ad guitar behind you too?
I do. Yeah, let me grab that.
That's another cool
Nice.
one. Those 3 Kramers, that one and the Hoffer Teacher, I think are very unique.
Yeah.
Woo, this one's heavy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's maple.
this one, believe it or not, the ad guitar might actually be my favorite striping pattern. It's one of them. I have a affection for the Frankenstrat and an affection for the 5150 because of what they meant to me when I first discovered them and whatnot. But of all the pictures I've seen of the various random stripe pattern guitars, the one that I was the most excited to do was this one. So, without further ado, Kramer ad Frankie.
Nice.
Oh, that's beautiful,
Sweet.
dude.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Look at that.
Yep.
And that has a big body on it, big
Big
horns.
body. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has the
coolest
that
headstock.
huge headstock. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
All right, I'll give you my address, man.
Oh, the back's awesome.
Tony.
The back's awesome.
Tony, you can see why I keep talking about that one lately.
That's a
And
cool one, Tom. Yep. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, right there.
You got it.
Oh,
There it is.
Hey.
by the
Oh,
way, I don't know if
man.
he's watching. I want to give a shout out. There was a guy named David Simpson in one of the Facebook groups, and I somehow in the Kramer Ad Frankie group it came up, and I said, like, does anybody know a guy that stencils the numbers and whatnot? And David Simpson got back to me, and he goes, I got a guy on eBay. I built one of these years ago, and a guy on eBay made me a sticker, a water slide sticker. And I said, okay, can you get me his info? Let me contact him. And this guy said, you know what? I've got a spare. I'm going to send it to you. It's free. Don't worry about it. He goes, just make sure you pay it forward when the day comes. So he sent me the sticker for free just because I asked about it.
Wow.
And so I give a shout out to that guy, David Simpson. I love it. And I absolutely will do the same. So
Nice.
it is so beautiful.
That's
I
awesome.
love this guitar.
I like the
Nice.
picture that's
Fantastic, man.
I always love that striping pattern on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in karma too. For
Yeah,
sure.
me too. Me too. Absolutely.
That guitar is awesome, man.
That's
pretty cool,
awesome,
Neil.
man.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh man. So you built those two. What was the process? There's templates for the Geralitis and the Neptune there are none. You had to
Right.
do that by eye.
Yeah. There's no science to it. It's honestly, I mean, I have a folder of, I could show it to you in my workspace. I've got a folder of each guitar that I wanted to build and probably 35 to 40 photographs of each guitar, every conceivable angle, every conceivable, because a lot of these weren't played live. So it's hard to find pictures of the backs of them. It's hard to find, luckily there are a few other people that have made recreations of them that have done them before. But there's a lot of certain angles from the front, the horns, things, the back, you're just kind of guessing. So it's just been scouring the internet for photographs and making sure they're legit and they're not forgeries, but then kind of putting it together. And then now that I've built so many Frankies, I have an idea of tape size in my head. When I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's an 1/8 inch, or oh, that's a 1/4 inch. And now my mind thinks that way mathematically. And a lot of these things now I also think geometrically, like which tape stripes go around front and back and then curl around and all this stuff. It's not like you're just doing the front of the guitar first and then flip it over and do the back. There's a method to it. So once you start thinking that way, it's time consuming, but when you're passionate about the project and you're addicted to it, like I kind of feel like I am now, that's my favorite part. There's literally no better part of the guitar than peeling off the tape after you do a color layer. There's nothing better.
Yeah, that is the best feeling.
Yeah.
Let me
awesome,
mention that Neil's links are down in the description. If you want something made,
Yeah.
his info is down below.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I'm serious. I'm looking for, I want someone to challenge me and say, hey, have you done this guitar yet? If it's one I haven't done yet, I'll get it right. I'm looking I'm excited about it. I want to do
the hardest
I'm
one.
loving it.
The hardest one in my mind is the Rasta.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Have you
yes.
seen the paint scheme to that thing?
Yeah.
Well,
but I think here's
Kurt,
what's
the hardest
like
one
paint
is the
chips.
snake, but we're
Yeah.
being realistic.
well, sure. And by the
Yeah.
way, Rob
You're right.
Johnson just got the snake
Brutala.
guitar back.
Yeah,
He just
Brutala
got
just
one.
did a snake for him, didn't
Oh
he?
my God,
Yeah.
is Rob's gorgeous.
It was sick. I saw the picture.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah.
he sent me
Yeah.
photos. I'll show you guys some.
But then again, Rob's got the full
Yeah, I
stripe,
wanna see
instead
those,
of his
Kurt.
arms.
Right, right.
And,
Yeah,
and
the Rasta guitar, I think, though, the one thing you got to consider is that's paint. That's one paint job over another paint job too.
with
Right.
vomit.
Yeah,
Vomit.
yeah,
right.
with cat bomb.
So
the
the
process,
Rasta
though,
guitar
Rob
was
Johnson is the
the
vomit,
Unchained
too.
guitar. Yeah,
I like the old paint scheme. I like the circles better.
Well,
Sorry.
here's what a true fan would build both, and then you would make one into the Rasta, right?
right.
A true fan would, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is with the Rasta,
Rob Johnson would.
the way the paint is, you have to do it in stages, like crazy stages. It's not.
Have you ever seen the close-ups you can see it pretty good in the video from what's the place in LA, the vintage guitar
Norms.
Norms. You can see it pretty close.
Yeah, rare guitars.
You can see the leveling. It's thick. That paint is on thick, man. Because it's 2 full paint jobs. I mean, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, look at that, man.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Wow.
That is awesome. You know, I think it's also funny. Somebody else mentioned to me before. I forgot what guitar they wanted me to.
Goodness.
Oh man, not the roster.
The Rude.
Yeah,
I like the Rude guitar.
Oh, I know what it was.
too.
Somebody asked me to do the purple striped guitar, the Kramer Pacer, and they were like, you know, could you do that striping pattern? And I mentioned to that person, I go, you know that those weren't actual paint stripes, right? That was literally tape on it, and they were like, oh, I didn't know that. I said I could still do it if you want to, you know, if you want to tribute to that guitar, I could certainly do it. And then they kind of like backed away and they said, oh well, if he didn't paint it, then forget it. So,
yeah, there's the tape guitar prior to the tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw someone talking about someone doing the back, you know, the buy see you later on the circles and doing it as paint and then clear coating it. I'm like, that's an interesting idea. If you did it like as paint, that would be kind of cool.
You know what's interesting?
You notice how I got all these photos just like queued up right here on my phone?
Wait,
I'm a nerd.
You know, you've got a direct link from your brain to that phone. I know you do.
Tom, you mentioned something really interesting about putting clear coat over, like what? There it is. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
I recently was asked to build completely off the Van Halen spectrum, but a tribute to Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins, 1993. His Siamese Dream guitars, the Bat Strat is what they call it.
Yep.
Now his was a sunburst guitar that he painted silver. And then he put stickers over it, and then it just wore the shit out of it over 3-4 years of touring.
They almost like melted in.
Yeah. Now somebody asked me to do that, but they wanted it to look specifically to a specific time period based on photos that they sent me, and they said, and you know what, we don't want to lose it from there. So what I did, I built it to that spec, faded it, sanded it, wore it down, put the stickers on it, and then clear coated over it about 10 coats of clear.
Like
so that
protected clear coat?
So yeah. So the stickers are underneath the layer of clear, so you don't even feel them when you rub your hand over it. And it's really cool. Let me show you this really quick.
That is awesome. So it's like the way they do a Paisley guitar. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow.
Oh man.
Iconic.
Look. Wow. Yeah.
There's all the bats.
Wow.
Yep.
So
that's
come on.
And that's all under
stamp this.
Right.
Well, a good buddy of mine, Corey, who might be watching, he's like the biggest Billy Corgan fan. So he's gonna be like going nuts when he sees this.
Look at that.
Dude, look at this.
Yeah, and Billy was a fan of Hardtails. Billy was a fan of Hardtails, so he only this was a lot of fun to do. Oh my god, this was a lot of fun to do.
Awesome, dude.
A white pickguard with black Sharpie.
Oh man! Wow.
And what pickups are in those?
DiMarzio's.
Okay.
DiMarzio. Well, Billy Corgan now has his own line, but these were the DiMarzios that he had in 1993.
But it's funny. It looks like you just picked it up out of his rack. That's why.
Yeah, look at that lower horn. And just so you guys know, the ad Frankie was one that Ed started playing when he basically retired as regular Frankie. You know, before the tail end of the '82 Hide Your Sheep tour, he played at a few shows in the States and then down in South America.
Yeah, he enrolled
people didn't know.
South America.
People had no idea that that wasn't his original Frankie. You know, I mean, we just didn't have the internet
at first. At first, but then you looked at the headstock. You're like, oh, wait a minute, and then you looked at the whole guitar, and that's not Frankie, right?
The routes were bigger. Yeah.
Neil, you there, Neil?
Neil's froze.
He's playing the mannequin movie.
Oh,
there he is.
There you
go. All right.
Sorry, all this excitement. I just shorted out.
Yeah, man.
Very cool.
Got that energy.
Yeah, I'm ready to build something right now, man. I got
So,
another.
Neil,
I got another Frankie neck ready to go. Right.
Oh man, his bandwidth can't handle his excitement.
Yeah, hold it right there. Yeah, right there. Don't move. That's perfect.
Look at the truss rod.
Neil's froze again.
Yeah, I was gonna see if he's ever built a shark.
I was going to ask him if he's done a bumblebee.
I'll be right
That's
back.
what I was gonna
gotta
ask
grab
him.
one thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm-
Kurt, I know you're working on one, but has he?
Yeah, we'll ask him.
done one?
There we go.
There he is.
There, I had to move my router, so I think that's causing me some internet problems. But
Oh, there
Go
you
ahead,
go.
or two.
Good.
I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
was going to
if
ask you.
somebody's-
Have you done a bumblebee?
I have not. I have not, and I love the guitar. Absolutely love it. Want to do it. I'm keeping the same philosophy of trying to keep the cost down and all the things that I'm trying to do. The one thing that I've had trouble doing is finding the right body. And you know, 3 pickup Strat bodies are they're a dime a dozen. They're easy to find, and I can get them anywhere, and they're cost effective. Mm-hmm. Finding the right, single humbucker body that was not a Kramer Beretta style body, it was more the Charvel body. And, kind of finding that right one is the only thing that's my hang up, and that's it, because I got to get it's the right one.
Yeah,
I love that.
from K&E Guitars.
Yeah, I've looked at K&E.
I've been waiting. It's been 6 weeks. It should be here any day now.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the other problem too. Is a lot of these, like even BYO guitars has a decent kit for that. That they really do. And I would put all my own stuff in it. So I just want the kit itself.
Yeah.
But again, backlogged. Everybody's backlogged. So that's another one of the hangups. Whereas I have the luxury of being able to I can find stuff and get it delivered to me, through eBay and Reverb or local pawn shops or secondhand. So, they're all over LA. So I just drive around and find the pieces I need, and I can get them same day. So
yeah, the BYO they did a Wolfgang body for a while. I think it's I don't think it's on there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that, but
they had a Wolfgang. Yeah. How about Shark guitar?
That one never really appealed to me as much. It never really, it didn't. It's cool to look at, but I mean, I was a traditional Strat style body guitar lover as a kid. I think the only time that I veered off the beaten path, so to speak, was right around Pyromania from Def Leppard, when Phil Collins was playing the Black Destroyer or whatever it was, the Z. That was probably the only time that I really thought, I could see myself holding something that looked, goth and whatnot. So the Shark guitar, I think, is cool. It doesn't grab me with enough. Now, if somebody wanted me to build him one, if somebody wanted to pay me to do it, I'd do it in a heartbeat. That's sure, of course. But in terms of, it doesn't pique my interest enough, because the striping pattern is a little bit rudimentary, and it's just 2 colors. And, it is what it is. It's, I would pass on it for me unless somebody commissioned me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Neil, let's get into the relicing of your work and how you go about it. Now, we all know these guitars so well. We know Ed's, what it was, what it became, what it ended up in the Met. What EVH has done, what others out there have done. You do great work, and I'm breathless and speechless.
Well, let me, if you want to
let's go to the back of this thing.
Nice.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the hardware, the claw, the trem cavity, the springs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
sure. Yeah,
so this is kind of a bone of contention for certain people that I built for, because they wanted, Eddie's had 3 springs, off-centered, 2 on the left, 1 centered, and a piece of duct tape underneath. And, there's plenty of pictures out there. I could have done the exact same thing. But for the players out there, that's one thing if somebody just wants something to hang on the wall. But for the players out there, intonating a Floyd Rose and balancing the springs and the claw with the gauge that you use, whether it's 9s or 10s, and then adding a bigger block to it, there's a lot more involved in getting it right. And what I wanted the guitar to do is play right. That's what I cared about. So at the end of the day, if I had to sacrifice a little bit of the aesthetic on the back to make sure that the guitar played right, that's all I cared about. Now, that being said, when I first started doing it, I discovered a cool process of relicking metal hardware, patinaing metal hardware, by first taking product, scuff something up with Scotch-Brite, and then dip it in a vinegar and salt solution for a short period of time to kind of start oxidizing. And Tom, I'm sure you've done this yourself too. I'm sure you know these things. And then going from that aspect and then dipping it into hydrogen peroxide, and then letting it sit in hydrogen peroxide for as much as, you have to kind of keep an eye on it, but sometimes 3 or 4 hours, letting something just kind of sit. And for certain aspects of the guitar, it works amazing. It works really, really well. My problem was when I first started doing this, I didn't take into account moving parts that I didn't want to rust. And this is a mistake I bet a lot of builders make when they're starting. But I was putting the Floyd Rose in it. I was putting the tuners. I was putting the locking nut. I would take these things apart and throw it in there, and then it would rust out and the screws didn't turn and it was just ruined. So I realized you got to stop doing that, and I stopped. But going back to what we're talking about here, so the back of the guitar, I was doing the same thing with the springs because I wanted the look of rusty springs on the back. I thought it looked amazing. And I would put it together. I would rust out the trem claw. I would, all the stuff. I would put it together, and I put together exactly the way Eddie's was. And when I finally had a playable guitar and I put it together and I plugged in with the amp, the pickup was picking up all the noise of the rusty springs in the back.
Oh yeah.
And see, there you go. There's the photo of the actual one.
Yeah.
And the problem, and it was killing me because the springs made so much damn noise. So I first then transitioned to saying, okay, I'm not gonna rust out my springs. I'm gonna leave them alone. I'm not gonna rust out the trem claw. I'm not gonna do anything with the back. I'll leave them as is. But I was still getting some noise from the springs, and a lot of them because they were used parts. I wasn't getting new things. I was getting used parts, putting them together from another trem cavity. So I stumbled upon official Floyd Rose noiseless springs, and they're covered by like a polyurethane cover or some, I mean, you can look this stuff up. I don't know the exact name of it, but there's actually different gauges that you can get. There are heavy duty springs and there are lighter springs, but they're all covered and they're noiseless. They make no sound. Even when plugged into an amp and you're cranking your amp to 11, you're not getting any sound bending the whammy bar from the springs. You're getting nothing. And that meant more to me than what it looked like. I cared about the playability of it. So then it just became kind of a you're just juggling how many springs do you need to intone right. When I decided to go with 9-gauge strings as opposed to 10-gauge strings, which I usually play on my guitars. 9 gauges are what Eddie played. For anybody out there that's not familiar with string gauge, they're a lighter string, not as tense. Some people say that they lose a little bit of tone clarity because they vibrate more recklessly because they're a lighter gauge. So some people don't like them because they lose the tone of it. When it came to Eddie Van Halen, though, his tone was all in his fingers. And that's where he derived his tone from. It's not from the pickup or the amp. It's his playing that did it. So I decided I opted to go with the 9-gauge strings, and then you got to balance. Then you got to find, then I added a big block, the 37 millimeter big brass block on the back. So that's going to change. Now that obviously is heavier. The strings aren't pulling as tight. So sometimes I would have to use more spring claw tension on the back. And so it's all just a juggling act to get it right with your particular, and every one of them is going to be different. Honestly, every single one of them is going to be different. I've sold them that have 4 springs. I've sold them with 2. If somebody doesn't want the upgraded block, then I can do different things with the springs in the back. I don't have. It's all a balancing act, and that's what it comes down to. But with your particular one, it intoned perfectly. It's noiseless, and you got 9-gauge strings, and the noiseless springs on the back work perfectly with that particular version.
Oh, you're set, Tony.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like those. And like I said, you can, if somebody had a heavier gauge string, like 10s or 11s, you could get a heavier gauge spring set on the back. So you can the Floyd Rose, if you go to their site, they've got green, black, and reds, depending on the string gauge you're using. So there's all kinds of, it's all balancing, man.
Yeah, and FU-Tone has them as well, and they make great stuff. I buy a lot of his stuff, but these are just as good, and they're actually a little bit less expensive.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice.
Got to hit an open A chord on that, Tony.
So then you got things like I've got the. Wait, you want to play it? No. I've got the phenolic pickup top, pickup cover on the top, that brownish, burgundy-ish, old-looking Mighty Mite pickup cover I got on the. There you go. Yeah, see,
Whoa.
see,
Yes.
that's in the neck pickup position, which is not wired, as Eddie's wasn't. It's worn and it looks, and I've taken those things. I've gotten the phenolic pickup covers, and I'll sand it down and I'll leave it out in the sun for a couple of days. I'll completely forget about it and just let the sun beat the shit out of it, and then it lightens and it ages and it yellows, and it's cool looking. And then the selector switch, same thing. Where I did, like I talked about, it's the vinegar and salt, and then I dip it in hydrogen peroxide, and it rusts. And then I'll take it out, and then I sprinkle graphite powder on it and paint it like a brush. And some of this stuff, people there. If I explained, if I gave like a cheat sheet for all the things that you got to do to make this guitar worth $1,000, people look at me and be like, "You're out of your mind." Everything you're doing is destroying it. You're ruining it. Like Johnny B said, I relic the tone knob exactly. But like Johnny B has said on his wonderful videos about the painting and all this stuff, he said if you saw this guitar at a garage sale and Eddie Van Halen wasn't Eddie Van Halen, you would look at it and think, "What a piece of shit."
Exactly.
So I put a whole lot of time and energy into making it look like a piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Like Zach Fong said, beautiful work,
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome work. I'm still, for the past hour, you have to excuse me, I'm kind of beside myself here.
I'm so happy for you, though. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, man.
Outstanding, Tony.
Nice.
So
Shaking.
I am. So Neil, when you start this process,
Thanks, Sandra.
bare wood.
Yeah.
All right, Sandra. I'll see you, sweetie.
Nice, Sandra.
Corny, everyone.
Good night, Sandra.
The foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start this process and you're at bare wood, I'm going to bring up this screen, and if you could kind of walk us into this process. Yeah.
Yeah, well, to kind of jump ahead, a lot of the guitars I'm getting aren't bare wood. I'm not buying unused, unfinished bodies. A lot of them I'm picking up. They're guitar bodies that were already done. So I've got to strip them. I've got to sand them. Sometimes I have to use a heat gun and peel off, ridiculous amounts of finish. But most of the time, I'm stripping them down. So let's see. If we took, for example,
you're gonna love this, Tom.
Let's go to right in the middle, in that middle row. If you go all the way to the right, there's the black guitar hanging, and then after I stripped it, there's a picture of it next to it, like second row down. Yeah, like that. Oh no! All right. Well, I've got that beat. I'll tell you what. Okay, how about this? So here we've got
Steve Jobs.
Pull me back up for a second.
Al Gore.
Put me back on screen. So we've got, for example, I buy a guitar like this. I find something like this on eBay or on Reverb or on some site. This was a guitar this was actually a Fender body that somebody was selling, a Fender body. No pickup, no nothing. It wasn't loaded. So I get that. Then I take that guitar and I strip it down to this version where, I'm basically with a heat gun, I'm stripping it if I have to, or I'm sanding or something. This is a guitar that I'm actually not happy with. I'm not going to use this. So this is my example of all the layers of crap underneath some of the finishes. So this one I'm not happy with. And when I tried to chisel out the routing a little bit, you can see I broke off. This actually broke. So this is kind of, but this, I like to keep this on hand because I can show you a lot of the process. You have to be very, very careful in stripping the guitar down to that bare wood. And the nice thing about the Frankenstrat is that there are certain specific areas where bare wood is showing. It's not the entire guitar. So I've now got those aspects memorized where I know that as long as it's sanded and scuffed, I can paint over the paint that's already there. It doesn't have to be. So something like this, which is a burgundy body, I don't have to sand this entirely down to bare wood. I just have to make sure that wood is showing in the areas where Eddie's had wood showing. So you sand it down, you get it sand enough so it's smooth, and then I'll put like a sealer on it. I'll spray a sanding sealer on it to kind of seal in the wood grain and whatnot. I want to keep it, certain areas that I want it to look right. And then I'll start painting. I'll use like a paint and primer color. There's different, depending on the brand that you're using. I'll go black. And then once I get the guitar painted black, then I take it and I start to, I'll either razor blade the areas that are wood, or I'll take a high grit sandpaper and start to scuff up the parts where wood is showing. Like, for example, what you're looking at right there. There are certain aspects that I'm gonna completely sand for bare wood. So then once I got that, then I decide once it's ready, once that is completely done and it's dried and it's cured a little bit, then I know that I'm going to paint it white. So I go to the taping process. I'll put the tape in the stripe pattern on the black guitar, and then I'll also kind of tape over the areas where the wood is already showing that I want to keep the wood showing. So there's a lot of weird taping patterns that I put on that don't look normal because they're not just stripes. Sometimes they're the areas that are going to keep relic. And then I paint the white. And then we go to same process. Once that is, I usually don't let, I've learned through trial and error not to let the paint completely cure with tape on it. You want to get the tape off while it's still tacky. It's better. It doesn't peel up the paint with it. So usually about 40 minutes to an hour, sometimes a half hour, depending on the paint I'm using or how thin the coat is. I take the tape off and then I let it sit, sometimes a day or two. Then I go to the next round of taping and do the whole thing again. And I'm taping not just the stripes, but also the part that I want to keep wood showing and parts that I want to keep, or areas that I'm going to relic, or areas that are specific to having a fogging effect. Like there's, when it's shocking that when I go through this process, I might do 3 coats of black, then tape it. And I might do 3 coats of white and then tape it. And your mind tells you that red is the predominant color on the guitar, so you want to make it as red as possible. And it's really hard to turn off that part of your brain that wants to cover everything in red. To get the ghost stripes underneath, the red is the thinnest coat you do. And it's weird. It took me a while to wrap my head around that because I kept thinking, oh, I can see the black through the red. I need to do another red coat. And you don't. You want to see the black through it. So, and there's some spots in the back that I specifically allow for some of the white coat to show through underneath because I know that that's going to be worn down. That has a pinkish hue. It's really, it takes a lot of time and patience to get it right. And then, like I said, once you do, and you take off all the tape jobs, and you start going around with a razor blade and knocking down the tape lines, and then bringing the wood out again, and oh my God, it's the greatest feeling. It's like Christmas morning every time I do it. I'll never get tired of it, no matter how many I do. I'll never get tired of it.
That is
No, what was the? Hey, wait, Tony, go back. Tony, I have a question. I have a quick question. Go back once, Tony. The top row, the fifth photo in that has all the blown up ones. So that one on the top right, not the yellow, but right to the left of that, that looks exactly like the Jed McFly photo. Is it?
Honestly, I don't know where I got all these from. I've stored it. They're all downloaded in a folder now, so I don't even know where I got them.
Those are the Jed McFly photos from. He was big on the VH Links forums.
Yeah. So I know that some of the templates some of the really popular templates that are being shared in files in some of the groups that we're in are inaccurate. And I've discovered there are some that are missing stripes.
But
not all of them are.
That's the one you have. There's the exact one I went off of as the base. But like you said, you got to eyeball it yourself.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think Johnny B, and not to confuse, not Johnny Beane, but Johnny B, who does
John Burris.
Yeah, who does just. You want to talk about a rabbit hole? That guy's gone so insanely deep, to the point of he'll do a whole Frankie just to test one idea.
Yes.
Knowing that he's going to be putting lacquer thinner and just stripping it down to the bare wood the next day. It'll be a Saturday, and he's like, "Well, I got to be at work on Monday, so Saturday he'll paint up the whole thing." Then when he sees whether or not the idea worked, with the blushing where it turned pink, then he'll literally strip it all down, and then he goes, "All right, Sunday's tomorrow. It's another 8-hour day. We're gonna try something else." I'm like, I don't know if it's dedication or madness, but it's beautiful either way.
It really is. It really is. I'm fascinated by him too. His videos.
Every one of his videos.
I do too. Yeah. And I'll never get tired of him talking and then adding his goofy songs at the end. It's great.
Yeah, I like that guy's stuff.
Very good. It's
so,
good
Gil,
to know
have you done a 5150?
I have not, and it's on my list.
Awesome. Man, look how cool that is.
Oh, cool.
Tony, I'm so happy for you.
There you go. Hey, Tony, if you want to isolate me, I'll show a couple pictures of my 5150 before I painted it because I relic mine.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're getting there. 5150 is next. Actually, in a weird way, and this is going to sound strange, 5150, because I think that was the first Van Halen guitar I discovered, that was the one that I was the most hesitant to do. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Because you would think that it's far more difficult and time consuming to do the Frankie. Yeah. But the 5150 the 5150 I've just hesitated and I've waited until the time was right. And I think it might be because that one I'm building for me.
I think you have a reverence for it. I think I talked to a friend of mine that's technically a much better player than me, and he said, and he could play all the Van Halen shit, no problem. But he said Eruption was the last one I really wanted to play for anyone.
That's gorgeous. And the springs, I love the springs.
Wow, man, that looks awesome.
Oh, nice.
Wow. So pretty, and that's the right color, orange red too. Oh my God, that's great. That is great.
That's awesome, dude.
Hold on, let's
nice.
But But he said that he had this reverence for Eruption. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's that you have a reverence for that.
It very well could be.
You know?
It's weird. It doesn't really seem to make sense, but I think you might be right. I think there's something that guitar I kind of mythologized a little bit more because that was my discovery of Van Halen. I discovered that guitar before the Frankie. So
not me. I saw that guitar a couple weeks when it was brand new. That and the 84. Yeah. It was so my really cool Van Halen memories are when that guitar is brand new. Not Relic like it.
Yeah. It's hard to find pictures of that though. It's really hard to find pictures of it when it's not Relic and doesn't have the stickers on it.
Tony, I had a quick question. Do you know anyone that has a stain worn?
That is pretty.
Stage worn awesome. Eddie Van Halen scarf that Valerie Bertinelli maybe gave them directly to them.
I don't know. Maybe, possibly.
You don't know anyone like that, do you?
I might.
Well, there it is. Wait, it's right here. Wait, Tony, is that your scarf?
Yeah, there you go.
That's your scarf, Tony.
That's it.
Could be.
Do you guys ever hear the story? Do you ever hear the story of Charlie Hodge, Elvis's guy on tour?
That's not it.
There was a guy named Charlie Hodge that went on tour with Elvis that used to handle his scarves in water. That was his job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
His scarves in water. That was his job. So
did he hold the nunchucks too?
Probably.
Neil, so what body did you use for your 5150 back there? Uh-oh. Shouldn't have.
No. I'm trying to think. Sorry, I got so many freaking bodies in my head.
So many of them,
yeah. No, I've got so many.
That's awesome.
I want to say it was an 83 Kramer Pacer
special.
Yeah. Based on the 83. Because here's the weirdest thing. And again, part of the reason I was so slow to get around to building the 5150. Somebody pointed me at the Vintage Kramer website where you can look at body shapes.
Yep.
And that template, that rotating template that shows you all of and it's weird. 82 Kramer Beretta had a different body than 83 had a different body. And also you can see how they overlap and there are all these weird differences. And so what I've seen with a lot of people that make 5150s is they just build them off of modern day Berettas. And they look good, but it's not the right body shape.
Not a
Beretta. That's the thing. So I kind of, it took me some time to kind of find the right body. And once I did, and I've still got to contour a little bit of the elbow curve a little bit more.
Did you have to fill like the neck cavity, or did you find one that was only single?
For that one, came as a single humbucker.
Oh, wow.
Humbucker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now I have seen others though where
because they made so many of those double humbucker ones.
I know.
So Tom, I bought my body from K&E.
Neil, that's a question. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rob.
7 days before Eddie passed, I purchased it.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, because 7 days after, and you wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, you couldn't have got it. You'd still be waiting.
But anyway, I was going to ask you, Neil, what's the best way? Because I've seen people do it where they literally use a liquid hardener type compound in the neck. And then I've seen guys that literally will cut, a shape of either the same type or similar wood and then get it as close as they can. What's your method and what do you think is the best way of doing that?
Filling it basically with a wood shaped, find that the only way that's not going to make the guitar vibrate or lose sustain.
Or sink in.
Or sink it, yeah. Or sink it, yeah. Because
happens.
No, I've tried that too with some of the I've tried to this guitar, for example. I've tried to just use a wood filler to build this, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just build it up like that, and that it won't hold like wood. It just won't do it. So yeah, what I found honestly, to fill in the pickup cavity, you got to get pretty much the same wood. And you gotta glue it in. And it's got to be pretty close to accurate.
You just square route it and then do
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what I assumed.
Fill it with wood glue, saturate it with wood glue, and let it sit.
The fibers to stretch out.
Yeah, exactly. And then sand it all down.
Yeah, cool. Because I have one. I think I'm I have this one right here. I bought. I got a real good deal on this eBay for real cheap, but I loved the neck. It's a Musicraft neck.
Tom,
Dude.
that's awesome.
It's a Musicraft neck.
Is that baked maple?
Yeah, it's just baked flame maple. But Musicraft doesn't apparently do the 5A flame maple anymore. And this was one of the last 5A flame maple necks.
And it's cut.
So I don't like the black hardware, but for about $100 less than what you pay for the 5A flame maple neck, I got the whole thing. And I took this one out. I want to fill this. I'm going to change this pickup. It's some EMG active pickup, and then it's I think it's a Floyd special. I don't know.
If it's black, it's a special.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. The only thing I don't like is it pulls up a little, but it sounds so good acoustically. It's loud that I don't want to mess with that, but I just want to fill this because I want to repaint it. I'm going to fill this. I'm going to taking that out. I'm moving the volume knob, and then I'm going to fill this, and then I want to fill this cavity. But I just want to see what your thoughts were on filling that. And then I'm just going to do one solid color. And then I think I want to match the headstock with the body. I'm thinking something like an ocean turquoise kind of to match the inlays.
Oh, cool.
So, but it's cool. It's got first guitar I've ever had that has more of they've been crowned down a little bit, a larger fret. I'm used to like vintage frets, so it's interesting. But
so
what's going
Frankie,
on, Tommy? Where is your stripe one you're building now?
That's in the basement because that fell apart. Like the paint had issues. I tried to use a new process, and it was bad. I should have stuck with the old process. So I kind of gave up on that, and I just want a different color completely. So I don't know at this point what I'm going to do because I was going to paint over the holiday weekend because I had, a day off work and everything, but it's just been humid and raining all day for the last 2 days. So at this point, honestly, it's at a standstill. I mean, the route looks the same, but I used what paint I had. I don't know if you've ever done this, Neil, but sometimes I'll just use whatever paint I have laying around as just like a primer, So I stripped it right down to the bare wood, and then I went. You can see the routes are still there, but it's just primered in almost like a metallic pink, is what I primered it in. So that's how it looks right now. Oh,
cool.
So I haven't done anything else at this point with it because the paint.
What were you about to say, Rev?
I was going to say my Frankie had abalone inlays on the maple neck that I bought, and of course the Frankie has black ones. So I'm like, shit, I got abalone inlays. What do? I went and bought one of those pins that you use to touch up chips in cars, this enamel, and I got black and went in and filled in the inlays, and so now they're black, and they used to be, that
nice.
abalone.
Oh wow, looks great.
Yeah, so that's a little trick, Neil. If you get a neck that has abalone inlays and you want to make them black, you can just use one of those automotive pins and just fill it in. Get it back to if you want black inlays on your neck versus the abalone.
Nice.
There's all kinds of tricks to the trade out there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Neil might be on mute.
Oh, you're muted now. Yeah.
Staying the night. I'm staying the night.
No.
I'm staying the night.
Plug?
Right, sweetheart.
You don't have to call me sweetheart, Tom.
Sorry, it was one of my granddaughter.
That wasn't me.
She runs this whole place.
I knew it was
You're
Charles.
muted, Neil.
I wasn't going to call him out. He's trying to fix it right now, I think. Yeah, you can see the little mute thing here on my screen. So what's new with you, R2?
Maybe pop out and pop back in.
Go.
There you go.
Hear me now.
There you are.
There you go.
You're good. I'm telling you, anytime it gets too exciting or too much cool guitar talk, like something goes
He shut down.
You know what? I feel bad now though, because Tom, I talked nonstop when you were showing me that guitar a second ago. You guys didn't hear a single thing I said.
Well, tell us then. No, go ahead.
Nah, I've moved on. I'm over it.
That's funny.
Nice. Well, I have to finish this too. I've been meaning to get around to this. This is my 69 Strat
Oh, that thing's awesome.
that I'm restoring.
Wow. Look at that.
Oh, dude.
That red is awesome.
Fiesta Red, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
It certainly is.
So I'm colorblind, so I had to color match it. I used numbers to color match,
Oh,
and I matched it to the actual car paint instead of like a picture of a fender because, you know, they obviously took it from the car paint. So
yeah, I was just gonna say that looks automotive.
That doesn't even have a skunk stripe on the back either, does it?
no.
So that's pre-bullet Strat when they started doing the adjustments in the headstock.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Early,
That's awesome.
Early 69, yeah.
Very
But
cool.
the neck, I mean, even though they had gone to Indian rosewood, it's a nice piece of rosewood, man.
It's got some
Nice.
character up there.
Yeah, it does. Pretty.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So, I'm just lazy. I haven't gotten around to it. So,
Nice.
well, I mean, I'm a single parent. I have 2 teenage kids, so it's like working full time doing that, you know, trying to find time to fit stuff in. I'm sure you know how it is.
Oh yeah.
You
I'm a member of that
So-
club.
know.
Yep.
That's awesome, though, Tony, man. Congratulations.
Dude, I have
And
got
congratulations on your work, Neil, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You got
dude.
peanuts everywhere.
look at this. Let me change cameras and I'm gonna show you this mess here.
Go for it, man.
Let me
What
Wow,
a mess.
That's a mess.
That's insane.
You
Is that a
gotta,
sock? Is that Neanderthal
oh, wait.
sock?
You gotta clean that Tony up. You've got Tony everywhere. Oh, wait, there you go.
Oh,
Wow. You look like your dog's one everywhere in it.
Stupid internet.
Wait, Panda Left, did you steal Eddie's guitar?
Dun, 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 dun.
Cops are gonna SWAT Tony's house. We've been looking for that. Stolen from 5150 several days ago.
Yeah. Jordan.
Thanks,
Smith.
Lenny Lou.
I am wearing this stuff.
That's the environmental friendly styrofoam.
Static.
It's dolphin free styrofoam.
Dolphin safe, yep.
Yeah.
Free.
Dolphin safe. I remember once when I was having
Dolphin free.
dolphin fish, and I was like, "You can't feed me dolphin," and they're like, "No, sir, it's a dolphin fish." And I was like, "Oh, me not that smart."
Do you talk to the dolphin? Do you go shopping with the dolphin?
Have you
Does
ever
he
seen
talk
some
to
of those videos? So I saw a video. This woman had a video out of Japan where it was literally like dock to table seafood, and they put the baby octopus appetizer on the plate, and the tentacle, like literally grabbed onto her arm and was moved.
Yeah, it's alive, and you got to swallow it whole. You can't chew it, otherwise it'll stick to your throat. But once you swallow it, it'll start to decompose.
It's like a buddy of mine was living overseas for a while. He worked for Xerox, and he said he wanted to have fugu one night because it was, you couldn't turn it down. It was a business meeting, and the guy was like, it was a big honor. And he goes, oh, I was freaking out, like telling my mom, well, if you don't hear from me tomorrow, I'm dead. Like, but he said it like it gives you this crazy adrenaline rush because your body reacts just enough that it thinks it's, being poisoned, but not enough to kill you. So,
dudes, I'm gonna tell you.
Tell us.
I've been waiting on this for a couple of years. I almost squeezed the trigger on the EVH. I wasn't really crazy about the Wolfgang parts all over the place in it. I liked some of the relicing, but it didn't look like this at all.
The Wolfgang kind of was like incorrect stripes. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me, I got something stuck in my throat. But you know,
or the forking relics.
But like I say, I'm gonna
I've never heard that, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be playing all day tomorrow. That and grilling. That's my day tomorrow. So if
sounds
you
like
call,
a good damn day. Sounds
if
like
you
a good
call,
day.
I'll call you back.
You got an amp you can take out on the back porch. You can do both at the same time.
Nah.
Yamaha THR10X.
Tony,
Huh?
if you weren't,
Yeah, there you go.
If you weren't so far away, I'd say bring it up here and put it through the big rig, man. 3 412s, you know, stereo wet dry wet.
Nice.
Blade 7100 watt Marshall, you know.
We're going in the 100-watt tomorrow.
Into the rack
That's
effect.
for sure.
ST
I'm
delay.
gonna get lost in my day tomorrow. Believe it.
Love
You know,
it.
the one thing I don't have that I'm still looking for, but I really don't want to drop the
Roland.
money on, but I would love to have. No, not the DC30. Actually, you know what I use instead? I have a tri-stereo chorus rack delay. I prefer that actually. But no, the PCM 70. But it's tough because the only thing he used that for was, you know, cathedral and for longer delays. But I can get the longer delays and like, I have 3 SDE units. It's overkill, but it's just that one thing, and it's like, man, that's the one thing. But no, the DC30 I looked at, I actually tried one out, but they're so noisy. So I got actually Full Tone makes one called the Turk, TERC. It's that 80s rack chorus, and it uses the original MN3007 Panasonic chips that are in like a so if you can imagine if you took a Memory Man, as much as those cost now, and put 3 full Memory Mans into a rack, but made it controllable, that's what a tri-stereo chorus is.
Man.
So it's basically 3 delay lines, and each one of them runs those delay chips, the analog delay chip. So it's the first rack unit, and it's just a recreation of the old ones. You know, what was it? Dynamite Piano, was that the one? Yeah. And Dynatronics was the other one. But it's just a recreation of that, but it uses all the same analog audio paths and everything, analog chips and stuff. But that's why they're so expensive. But I sold a bunch of gear and bought one. They get them like special order through Sweetwater. So I told my rep there, hey, put me on the list if you get one in, I'll buy it. And then I wasn't expecting to buy one, but I was like, well, I sold like 2 guitars, so I put that from the you know, the gear fund coffer. You know, I was like, all right, well, I'll buy that then. But it's so cool because you can either use it as a chorus, you can almost get like a quasi vibe effect, or you can just use it as a cool stereo delay, or even as a panning thing, like, you know, as like an EVH thing where you just have it like, you know, you adjust it so it's modulated like slightly sharp on one end and slightly flat on the other, you know.
I want to get the new Eventide micro pitch pedal.
Oh yeah, well I have 2 of those H9 pedals, man. I love those.
Oh, you do?
The Eventide H9s, I love those for the harmonizer. That's the only thing I use in it though. Those the H9 910 949, you know, like the 1984 kind of sound.
Yeah.
You know, that whole widened, detuned, and the whole balance thing, and you know.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to British Electric Blues, Andrew, Brad, and Kurt.
Nice.
What have you guys got happening here upcoming, Kurt?
Let's see. So we were supposed to have our regular show on Friday, but we postponed it because of Memorial Weekend because I was out of town. But we had to move it again because I'm going to do the event with Tom Weber. So we will have our next show on Friday, the 11th of June, and we're going to rank the tracks on VH1.
Nice.
Yeah. Which we've broken up into 2 shows because it's such an iconic album.
Nice.
But I think Brad and Andrew might do like a quick hour-and-a-half show on that Friday when I'm in Portland at my event. But our next show where I'll be on will be the 11th. And then, of course, they do every Saturday night. They do their British Electric Blues show where they rank. And I think next week they're doing Lenny Kravitz's album.
Nice.
And you notice Kurt said a short hour-and-a-half. They go long.
I know.
They go in. They go deep. They go in depth.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Give the kids, Tommy, a heads up on what's going to be happening here next Sunday.
Me? Next Sunday?
Yeah, next Sunday.
Next Sunday we are doing, let me think.
Sunday.
Let me see. I was looking at my email earlier. 1 year anniversary.
No, we're not.
That's Saturday. That's Saturday.
Saturday.
That's next Saturday. I'm gonna phone a friend. Reverend Kurt.
Your top 5?
No, I know. Top 5 Van Halen solos. I'm just teasing.
Nice.
I remembered. No, I had a brain fart. I had to think about it. Tony talked to me about that, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So we are gonna go around the horn next week and give our top 5 Eddie solos from songs. This will exclude Eruption, Spanish Fly, Cathedral,
Respect the Wind.
And Neil, it goes without saying, Neil, if you want to pop in anytime and join us, man, when we're hanging out on, on Sunday nights doing it, man.
Yeah,
you've got the sickness like all of us.
I do. I can't wait to talk because I'm gonna make a strong argument next week for Eddie's bass solo on the Sammy Hagar solo song from the Top.
Nice.
There we go.
I'm thinking outside the box.
Going deep.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Nice.
This is going to be a good show next week, too. And the following week on the 13th, the weekend of the 12th, 13th, the 13th here is Wolfgang Van Halen's album comes out that week. So we're going to have basically a album release party right here on Sunday night, Halenville Live. And on that night, let me go ahead and make this announcement. A couple of you may know this already, but a lot of you in the chat don't. On the 12th, a couple weekends from now, I'm getting a Van Halen tattoo right here on the shoulder, and we will unveil it right here in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Right here, right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
You should use some of the peanuts you got out of my box and wrap your arm in bubble wrap that I sent you.
Good.
Yeah, but it's long awaited. I'd been wanting to do this for a couple of years. A couple of years ago, my mom passed, and then this passed with COVID, and but I'm finally getting around to it, and it'll happen on the 12th, and we'll show you guys on the 13th here on Halenville Live in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what you don't know, Kurt, is it's actually a tattoo of Jan Van Halen, and he's playing his clarinet. He's nice and formally dressed.
He's got his front teeth out.
Yeah.
And one of his thumbs is missing.
Yeah. And then the next one he's getting is of Eugenia, and it's him when Eddie was little, or no, it's her with Wolfgang when Wolfgang was little and she was older. It's that picture. It's grandmother and grandson. Nothing to do with Eddie, lest you think.
Eugenia, she's making stir fry for the boys as they just finished practice.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say if it's a logo or a guitar or a
pick,
portrait or a pick.
It's blood drops, but they're striped blood drops coming down his arm.
Yeah.
But I have one here and only one on my body, but I'm getting another one here. And it is all Van Halen.
Excellent, bro.
Nice. Kick ass.
Yeah. So that'll be here in a couple of weeks. Neil, we appreciate you being here. Can't wait to see you next week, brother. This has been such a treat.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, Neil.
You realize now, after an extra day off, supposed to get some good rest with an extra day off. I'm not going to get any damn sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Excellent, man.
This 3-day weekend might just become a 4-day weekend for you. Gentlemen, obviously this goes without saying. I thank you guys a lot for the opportunity to kind of showcase my work. That goes without saying. But more importantly, I feel like I know all you guys. We've all interacted in some weird way or another so far. And so putting names to the faces, I feel like I'm a part of the family now. I'm in. I'm committed.
I'm committed. For sure.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
And Neil, there's going to be 100 some people that'll watch this video. So hopefully, our plan is to get some business to come your way where you got something to do for the next 6 months.
I hope so. Honestly, I hope so. I hope so because I love doing what I'm doing. Very few people in the world get to say that they love what they're doing to make money, and this just happens to be one of those opportunities for me. So
we can feel your love and your passion, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man, super cool. Good Lord.
Man.
I'm still beside myself. Jesus.
Tony, are you going to bed at 8 a.m.
3.
Tony, if I do have
Am I going to bed or are we going to bed?
like Hendrix, find him asleep in the bed with his guitar. Yeah.
It puts the true oil on the neck.
It puts
the true oil on
Oh my Lord!
It burns the cigarette
and scene,
or it gets the hose again.
Oh Lord!
So Neil, if they need any extras, the next film you're doing, Kurt is your man. Puts the true oil on the neck.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we'll get into my voiceover career later. Next time we do this.
Oh man! Oh,
that's awesome.
That's close to my heart, man.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Beane always talks about because he's friends with Phil Hendry, and I love whether it's cartoons, animation, live voices. I just love people that do voice work. Like it's amazing. Then you see their face, see them do the voice, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
God, it's crazy. It's
you know?
so crazy watching it. Yeah. When you go into when you go to do looping for your dialogue, and even in acting scenes that I've done too. Sometimes if it's an outdoor scene, the exterior mics pick up airplanes and wind and all this stuff. So you have to go back into a studio to do the dialogue of the scene you already filmed, and it's weird acting out. So I can only imagine, the times I've seen people do animated voices, and it's like a regular dude, and then it's so unexpected. It really catches you off guard. It's cool. I love it.
It's so funny.
Simon Williams.
It was real quick. A buddy of mine did for about 15-20 years did audio edits for TV for the exact thing you're talking about, and he said it ruined it for him because he got so good at it that he can't watch TV with his wife and kids now because he hears whether it's and he goes, when it's natural audio, He's like, oh my gosh, it's like someone who has tinnitus. It doesn't hear the ringing all of a sudden. He goes, and then all of a sudden it goes back to 80 or 90% of them where you can't use the audio. You have to do that. And he goes, oh, I can hear it every time.
Nelson, what's happening, dude?
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Tom RC Collins is the best.
Oh yeah,
From
for
Phil
sure.
Henry. Yeah.
When I first heard him, I was like, no, there's no way that's one person. And then like I had to see when they finally started putting up on YouTube the videos of it. It's like seeing Eddie live for the first time. I'm like, holy shit, he exists. That's real. Like, it's nutty.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I'm happy for you, man.
Yep.
I'm stoked for you. The
100%.
next like week's gonna be shell shock. Play the hell out of that thing. For sure.
Dude. My day's gone tomorrow.
That's good, man.
My day's gone.
Everybody deserves to have one, though. Everybody that wants one deserves to have one, and price shouldn't be the issue. So I'm glad. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're excited about it.
Well, me, as everybody knows, I'm a huge Van Halen fan, but this guitar, I've seen them up close as a kid so many times. I've been so close. I've been this close to Ed's guitar so many times that, you know, his later axes, I love them too. But this guitar, you know, it means a lot. You know, it really does.
Bent Tom and R2, R3, and Charles Green, you guys have been on this kind of YouTube masquerade for quite a while. Has there ever been a show where someone unboxed a guitar and the guy that made the guitar was a guest during the unboxing?
No, this is the first.
Yeah.
This is right here.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I'm amazed that Neil actually had the nerve to come on while his guitar was being unboxed. That's
called
balls.
Sight on
right there.
Trust me.
Tony did not open that ahead of time. We busted his balls about opening it. Like, come on, just take a peek. Just take you want to make sure the neck didn't break. You want to just check that. Nope, he will not.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. No, you guys are 100% right, and I guarantee you, I had moments today where I was arming myself to be defensive. I was arming myself to plan. But luckily, honestly, I didn't have to. The product you bought is what you saw, and you're happy. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Legit. It's legit. Everything's legit. This is live, folks. It's Al Gore invented the internet, and we're watching it right now.
Yeah. I know.
Oh man, I don't think you had ever lived that one down.
No, I'm
pretty cool.
Those interwebs, intergoogles, right?
Yeah. So I think I'm not going to clean this mess up until in the morning.
There you go.
But I'm trying to think how I'm gonna leave that on a stand and not sleep with it.
Yeah.
You know.
I would be thinking about how you're not going to wake your neighbors up because I want to be plugging into that Marshall you have and cranking that.
Yeah, that is going to happen about 9 a.m.
As soon as you're allowed to turn the lawnmowers on, the amplifiers are allowed to be turned on.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I say.
That's the rules.
That's the rules of the suburbs, right?
It's Memorial Weekend. You should be able to crank that thing and play
and I have
Star
the
Spangled
wood
Banner
behind my house, so we go by 8 a.m. You know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So kids, we appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah.
It's been a great night here on Halenville
and thank
Live.
you, Neil. Most of all, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
A
For the
pleasure.
amazing work.
Ladies
for
and
hanging with us.
gentlemen, Neil Daly.
My pleasure, guys. My pleasure. Anytime. Anytime.
Neil's links are down below. Daly's Custom Designs. Go check him out.
Facebook, Reverb,
Yeah.
Check them
sometimes
out.
on eBay.
Don't
Yeah,
tell
go to-
your significant other. Just don't tell them at all. Just go look, find what you want.
Yeah,
It's better to
exactly.
ask for
Exactly.
forgiveness than
Later.
permission.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm easy to find, folks. I'm easy to find. So
Nice.
All right. Well, you guys hang out, and everybody, we will see you here next Sunday night, Halenville Live. Have a great Memorial Day tomorrow. Have a great upcoming week.
Yeah.
See you
100%.
next Sunday, 10 p.m. right here.
Nice.
Take care, guys.
Hey now.
Hey now.